Chapter 785. The Li family was also idle for a period of time. Li Zongjiu refined a lot of elixirs. At the same time, he also sorted out some of the cultivation techniques. When he was free, he found someone to pass them down. During this period of time, he was also waiting for the Shengyan dynasty's attitude to change. Obviously, the Shengyan dynasty had acquiesced to this matter, which made Li Zongjiu somewhat puzzled. There must be a problem. Li Zongjiu frowned. Emperor Shengyan's brother had died, but he didn't express anything. Even an ordinary person wouldn't have such a reaction. However, in such a peaceful situation, Li Zongjiu was more than happy to see it. No matter what schemes and plans you have in the future, at least you can be calm now. Li Zongjiu will take it as you are sensible and won't pursue the matter. If he had the cultivation of his previous life. Not to mention King Qin Yuan, even Emperor Shengyan would have to fucking come out and kneel in front of him to apologize. His leisure days flew by quickly. Li Zongjiu also stayed in Wuxia city for nearly half a month. It helped Li Tianqing's cultivation to directly rise to the 6th grade of the origin ancestor realm. Now, the strength of the Li family was comparable to that of the Fog Snow Alchemy sect. Of course, this was without any external help. Otherwise, with just the strength of the 3rd grade, it could easily kill the entire Fog Snow Alchemy sect. It was precisely because of his strength that he was able to display. The rise of the Li family in Wuxia city, and even in Dingquan province, was already unstoppable. The pilots of the 10 Qilin warships had also completed the preliminary training. The following strengthening and consolidation training only needed to be self-aware. It had to be said that people with martial talent learned these things very quickly. In just over half a month, they had already mastered these things. Among them, Li Yun's level improved rapidly, which made Zheng Haoran sigh constantly in the process. Why didn't the Zheng family have such a talent? Although there were, in fact, there were relatively few. The composition of the talents in the big families was actually more or less the same. If there were more people, the probability of some geniuses appearing would be higher. After all, the base number was huge. However, the resources they enjoyed were different, so the status and level they could achieve were also different. The main thing was still to see how many resources could be used on one's body. If one was served with all kinds of medicinal pills from birth, or even if one only needed to concentrate on cultivation, the time and opportunities to cultivate would naturally be more, and the possibility of becoming an expert would naturally be greater. Of course, there were no absolutes in the world. Sometimes, an overly comfortable environment would cause people to become depraved. Only with sufficient motivation would these people be able to constantly move forward. The Li family had gradually paid attention to this aspect. Li Tianqing was not a short-sighted person. The reason why Li Zongjiu could grow to such a level in the future was also because of Li Tianqing's influence. Even though the family was rich now, it would never make any disciple feel satisfied. They had to improve their strength in order to enjoy the corresponding resources. The notice of the 100 Medicine Pavilion had been sent to Li Zongjiu. 3 days later, they would gather in Black Horse Town. At the same time, there was also an invitation letter. It was the invitation letter of the Black Horse Elixir Gathering. This elixir gathering from Black Horse Town was not difficult for Li Zongjiu, but it was also a gathering that only happened once every 10 years. It was able to gather all the high-quality elixirs in the world. Therefore, Li Zongjiu did not need to run around in this Black Horse Elixir Gathering. He could directly collect all the high-quality elixirs in one fell swoop. I am going out. What are you doing? Li Zongjiu saw that Li Yun seemed to be ready, and she was already standing outside Li Zongjiu's house. Of course I am protecting you. You are now an important person in our Li family. Li Yun looked at Li Zongjiu and teased him. Li Zongjiu almost laughed out loud. With your skinny arms and legs, you want to protect me? You. I am now the only person in the Li family who can freely pilot the Qilin battleship. The head of the family has already ordered me to protect you. If you have any objections, then go directly to the head of the family." Li Yun looked at Li Zhongzhou's mocking expression, and she suddenly felt angry. This little guy's strength had grown, and his skin was also itching. "Oh. You can pilot the Qilin battleship?" Li Zhongzhou was surprised. This Qilin battleship was such a big guy, but Li Yun's thin and weak appearance, could she pilot it? "Sorry, I am now the captain of this Qilin battleship." Li Yun proudly straightened her chest and looked at Li Zhongzhou. This was also the reward system given by the Li family. Whoever could successfully pass this exam and become a qualified captain, then he would be able to own a Qilin battleship. Now, Li Yun had become the first captain of the Li family. She could be regarded as a pioneer of the Li family. However, the first captain directly sent the Qilin battleship to Li Zhongzhou's side. Obviously, Li Tianqing was very concerned about Li Zhongzhou's protection. Li Zhongzhou was also very clear about this. Therefore, when he looked at Li Yan's face, it was as if she had come to look for him with an imperial sword. He immediately nodded helplessly. "All right, then let's go out and have a look." Li Zhongzhou did not object to this behavior. After all, the people of the Li family couldn't always stay in this small Wuxia city. Someone had to go out and see the world, so that they could be used in the future. Although it was good to go out and explore, the outside world was after all, dangerous. Obviously, it would be safer if Li Zhongzhou went out with them. Hearing Li Zhongzhou's agreement, Li Yun's face suddenly showed a surprised expression. "I'll go and prepare now." In fact, Li Yun had also looked for Li Tianqing before, but Li Tianqing did not say that she must follow Li Zhongzhou. Li Tianqing, who was familiar with Li Zhongzhou's character, naturally knew about Li Zhongzhou's temper. Therefore, he only said that Li Yun should strive for it herself. If Li Zhongzhou agreed, then he would let Li Yun follow him. Li Zhongzhou also understood that this girl had tricked Li Zhongzhou. This suddenly made Li Zhongzhou speechless. "Tian Fei, get ready. We'll set off after lunch." "Yes, young master." In the afternoon, a Qilin battleship swept over the sky of Wuxia city with a boom. In the beginning, it was still a little shaky. It even gave people the feeling that it was about to fall as it swayed. But after that, it became stable. It was the first time it was carrying out a mission, so it was a little nervous. This made Li Yun a little excited. Li Tianqing was in the courtyard of the Li family, looking at the Qilin battleship in the sky, and his heart was filled with emotions. With Li Zhongzhou in the Li family, there was no need to worry about not being able to roam the world. Chapter 786. The Li family's roaming ship rose into the sky. Tian Fei and Li Yan were the only ones accompanying them on this trip. The captain of the ship was Li Yan. Tisk, he's actually using the Qilin warship as a means of transportation. How rich! Zheng Haoran and some other members of the Zheng family were naturally amazed when they saw Li Zhongzhou's actions. It was simply admirable. Not many people could be as rich as Li Zhongzhou. At first, the speed of the wanderer was average. After all, the sky wasn't clear for thousands of miles. In the sky, there would often be some unexpected situations, such as some hovering birds, some chaotic airflow, and so on. Those were very dangerous things. Sometimes, one could even accidentally pass by the battlefield of some experts. That was the most ridiculous thing. Even if one wanted to avoid it, they might not be able to. Then there were bandits. Whether it was in the sky or on the ground, there were bandits everywhere. Some bandits were also good at fighting in the air. They had the idea of robbing the passing ships. However, such people generally had some strength. After all, people who could sit in a ship were mostly better than people who rode horses on the ground. If they were not strong enough, it would be difficult for them to compete with the people in the sky. However, the Jing family's Qilin worship was famous. When they saw the worship passing by in the sky, even some bandits could not help but hurriedly hide. If they were targeted by the Qilin worship, they might be wiped out. Therefore, there was no need to worry about the bandits on the road. After all, these bandits were worried about themselves. The Qilin worship quickly swept across the sky of Dingquan province. Li Yun, who was in the cockpit, also looked at the scene in front of her with interest. Although Li Yun was a few years older than Li Zongjiu, her knowledge and experience were pitifully little. She had always been trying to refine pills in the family. Now, she finally had the opportunity to leave the family and even directly leave Dingquan province. This was simply unimaginable. That's Scarlet Flame Mountain. We have entered the territory of Scarlet Cloud province. Li Zongjiu's figure appeared in the cockpit. When he saw Li Yun's excited face, he felt a sense of accomplishment. In his previous life, Li Yun's cousin had never seen the outside world before her death. She had never walked out of Wuxia city. Now, she finally came out. If Li Zongjiu did not have a powerful force in this life, the Li family's fate would probably be similar. Therefore, for Li Zongjiu, all of this was an extremely fortunate thing. Although in the process, there were many unrelated people who were implicated because of this, Li Zongjiu did not care. If you could not survive, it was your own lack of ability. If everyone needed to be taken care of by Li Zongjiu, then Li Zongjiu would not be a saint. Living in this world, how could there be so many opportunities to care about the life and death of other people? Just these things were enough for Li Zongjiu to have a headache. The blazing flames of Scarlet Flame Mountain were still fine during the day, but once night fell, one would be able to see the clouds blotting out the sun. At least within a radius of 10,000 miles, it would be an absolutely magnificent scene of burning clouds. This Black Horse town happened to be in the territory of Scarlet Cloud province. The land of the 13 provinces of the Shengyan dynasty. If one were to say which region's people had the most explosive character, then it would undoubtedly be the Scarlet Cloud province. In this Scarlet Cloud province, more than 80% of the cultivators were of the fire attribute. Therefore, the number of alchemists was also the highest in the province. Fighting was also a common thing. Although the number of alchemists born in this place was relatively high, alchemists rarely liked to stay in the Scarlet Cloud province. This was because after learning alchemy, it was a bit too rude to look at these people. At the same time, there was a very important reason, and that was that in the Scarlet Cloud province, it was very difficult to produce some precious spirit herbs. After all, even the air was filled with a dry and hot feeling. Very few spirit herbs could survive in such an environment. As for those special fire attribute medicinal herbs, they were also very rare. After all, they were some special examples. This was the reason why the alchemists were not willing to return here. However, the Black Horse Alchemy Gathering was held once every 3 years. At this moment, in the Scarlet Cloud province, there were many alchemists gathering. Black Horse Town was usually in a state of seclusion. At this moment, the alchemists who had already arrived would stay in the vicinity of Black Fire City. Although the price of the inns in Black Fire City would rise to a terrifying level, after all, the people who came and went were all alchemists. Since they were alchemists, how could they be shabby? Just a few words of praise from these people, and they were basically willing to book the entire inn. After spending a day and a half on the road, in the morning of the second day after departure, Li Zongjiu and the others appeared in the vicinity of Black Fire City. When they arrived at this place, Tian Fei looked at the map in his hand and frowned. "Young lord, you must be careful here. In the Scarlet Cloud province, there is a sect called the Ardent Earth sect. It has a good relationship with the Mystic Yuan sect. The sect master of the Ardent Earth sect is the sworn brother of the sect master of the Mystic Yuan sect," Tian Fei reminded. Not many people knew about Li Zongjiu's incident in the Qinyuan villa, so Tian Fei was not very clear about Li Zongjiu's strength. At this moment, since they had arrived at such a place, it was very likely that they had entered the site of the Ardent Earth sect. When Li Zhongjiu was in the Sacred Flame Royal City, the mystic Yuan sect did not directly kill him because of the Heavenly Elixir Pavilion. However, it did not mean that after leaving the Sacred Flame Royal City, the mystic Yuan sect would not use other methods to deal with Li Zhongjiu. For example, the Ardent Earth sect. In the Scarlet Cloud province, it was definitely a second-class sect, and its strength was definitely not weak. Got it. Li Zhongjiu nodded. The Qilin battleship landed outside Black Fire City. After all, if such a large warship were to be driven directly to the city gates, people who didn't know would think that they were attacking them. Although Li Zhongjiu was strong, he wasn't an unreasonable person. In essence, he was still a person who liked to keep a low profile. Therefore, Li Zhongjiu let the Qilin battleship land less than 200 meters away from the gate of Black Fire City. For a moment, the soldiers of Black Fire City were extremely nervous. Could it be that someone was coming to attack them? They did not know who the person who walked down from the battleship was. Fortunately, the person who came quickly kept the battleship. The huge 100-meter battleship disappeared into thin air. Even if it was stored in a storage ring, it would probably require a very high-grade storage ring. Otherwise, it would not be easy to store such a large battleship. Originally, one needed to pay to enter the city, especially since Li Zhongjiu and the other two were foreigners. Of course, they had to extort a huge sum of money from them. However, the battleship of Li Zhongjiu and the other two reminded these people. Obviously, these people were not simple people. If they were careless and offended them, the consequences would be unimaginable. Even the guards at the city gate let them pass. The three of them entered the bustling Black Fire City. Chapter 787. Why do the people of Blackfire City look so ferocious? Li Yun looked at the appearance of these people. Either they had bad intentions, or they looked as if they would fight with their lives if they approached them. Their eyes were full of drama. For Li Yan, this was the first time she had seen such a scene. After all, in Wuxia City, the folk customs were relatively simple and honest. Even the surrounding cities were relatively friendly to the people there. But when she saw the people in front of her, she was a little puzzled. Who sees you as unfriendly? Li Zhongjiu asked. Look at that bald bearded man. His face is fierce, as if I have snatched his wife. Li Yun could not help but say. Li Zhongjiu also looked over. Beside the bald bearded man, there were also a few fierce swordsmen. At first glance, it was obvious that they were bloodthirsty playthings. When he felt Li Zhongjiu's gaze, the bearded man smiled coldly. He pointed his thumb at his neck, as if he was showing off to Li Zhongjiu. Go and cut off his thumb. Li Zhongjiu said. Before his voice fell, he saw Tian Fei's figure rush out. Li Yun only had time to see Tian Fei suddenly move forward. She did not understand what Tian Fei was going to do, but Tian Fei's figure had already returned to the team. Ah! The bald man on the opposite side of the road suddenly screamed. He covered his thumb with all his might. Blood was gushing out from his finger. Tian Fei's speed was so fast that the bald man did not have time to react. Brothers, kill him. The bald man did not care so much. He did not expect that in Blackfire City, there would be someone who dared to take the initiative to provoke him. He wanted to let these arrogant foreigners know what it meant by a strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its old haunts. Li Yun did not even know what happened. She saw the four people opposite her, one after another, draw their swords. Tian Fei did not say anything and rushed out again. This time, his fingers formed a sword. He directly waved his fingers and broke the swords in their hands. Clang! 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 The sound of the swords falling to the ground was shocking. What? The swordsmen were stunned. Then, Tian Fei gave each of them a slap, directly knocking out a few teeth in their mouths. The bald man was about to rush out and fight with Tian Fei, but the sword in Tian Fei's hand moved at an amazing speed. Chi! The sword directly stabbed the bald man's shoulder. Baldy couldn't stop himself and rushed forward, allowing the sword to pierce through his shoulder. Ah! It was such a bloody scene. The bald man's expression was enough to see how painful the sword was. Tian Fei did not take the lives of these people. It was easy to kill a few scumbags. If he took these people seriously, wouldn't it make him look very stingy? Naturally, Li Yan was stunned by what she saw. She did not understand why Tian Fei suddenly took action to teach these people a lesson. Great! Great hero, please spare our lives. We have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. The big man hurriedly said. If he delayed any longer, his arm would be completely crippled. Therefore, the bald man quickly begged for mercy. If he was sent to the medical hall a little later, he would be in big trouble. Get lost. Tian Fei withdrew the sword in his hand, looked at the group of people in front of him and said indifferently. Li Yun still did not understand. She looked at the people around her and saw that some people's gazes had begun to change. The outside world is different from Wuxia City. In the outside world, you must have strength. Otherwise, anyone who comes here will want to eat you. Li Zongjiu told Li Yun this simple truth. When the three of them first walked on the street, they were not telling others that they were rookies in the underworld, come and bully them. This was the reason why these people looked at them with such a gaze. After seeing Tian Fei's strength, these people also knew how powerful Tian Fei was. Naturally, they didn't dare to act recklessly. Therefore, all of them turned their gazes to other places. Li Yun nodded thoughtfully. After all, Li Yun's cultivation was only at the Yuan Master realm. Until now, she had not broken through to the Yuan General realm. It could be seen that Li Yun's cultivation talent could only be considered ordinary. The three of them walked directly into an inn. Li Zongjiu and Tian Fei could endure the hunger, but Li Yun might not be able to endure it. Moreover, they were not in a hurry now. Since they had nothing to do, they might as well find a place to sit down and have a good meal. Please come in. Our restaurant has the best roasted beef and roasted lamb. How many do you need? The waiter came out with a list and said directly. Li Zongjiu glanced at the waiter when he heard that. What kind of restaurant is this? Why are you so extravagant? You even roast a whole lamb and a whole cow. Just some home-cooked dishes will do. After saying that, the three of them sat down directly. The waiter also knew that these people could not be fooled. Therefore, he wiped the table and asked them to wait a moment. I say, have you heard? This year's Dark Horse Elixir gathering is not simple. Just the few old monsters in the Qiyun prefecture seem to be showing signs of coming out of seclusion. Is it that exaggerated? Those few seniors have retired for so many years. How could they participate in this Dark Horse Elixir gathering? Sigh, I said that you are ignorant. Those 5 old monsters, of course, will not participate in this Dark Horse Elixir gathering. After all, their strength has reached the peak. However, their disciples need to be trained. Some time ago, I heard from my friends that a few young people with extraordinary strength have already entered the Black Fire City. These young people are very likely to be the disciples of those old monsters. Is it true? How can the words of the flying leopard be false? Li Yun heard that these people seemed to be talking about some amazing people. However, after all, she had little experience in the Jianghu. After hearing this, she quietly moved closer to Li Zongjiu. Who are they talking about? They seem to be very powerful. Li Zongjiu moved the cup. They are just 5 cowards. They said that they are the 5 alchemy saints in the Qiyun prefecture. However, in reality, they are so scared that they do not dare to come out of seclusion. Li Yun heard Li Zongjiu's words and nodded her head in realization. Li Zongjiu did not hide his words at all. Many people around heard it and looked at Li Zongjiu in shock. Obviously, they were extremely shocked by Li Zongjiu's words. Pa! A young man stood up and smashed the teacup in his hand. Nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth. Who dares to insult my master? Chapter 788. Li Yun didn't expect that she just casually asked a question. It actually caused a disturbance, and it seemed that these people were not to be trifled with. That made Li Yun have a feeling of shrinking her body. Why was the outside world so dangerous? Li Zongjiu didn't speak, and Tian Fei directly stood up. He walked up to the man who looked taller than the rest. This man was still wearing the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's alchemist robe. Looking carefully at the mark on his body, he was actually a fourth-grade alchemist. This young man's age seemed to be less than 25 years old. He was actually a sixth-grade alchemist, which almost made everyone surprised. This child is actually so young, and he is already a fourth-grade alchemist. Is Master really the disciple of the Crimson Cloud 5 Saints? There is no mistake about the fourth-grade alchemist, this is the proof of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. The disciple of the Crimson Cloud 5 Saints, this child's future achievements will be limitless. When the surrounding people saw this young man, they also exclaimed. They were quite impressed with the strength of this young man, and at the same time, they were also quite envious. These three little guys are going to be miserable. The disciple of the Crimson Cloud 5 Saints is not to be trifled with. The young man was called Gao Yuan. Originally, Gao Yuan had been in this inn, listening to the people around him guessing his identity, and also revealed a mysterious color. After all, he was the disciple of the Crimson Cloud 5 Saints, but he didn't know that the person they were talking about was now sitting in front of them. This kind of feeling was very good. Listening to it, it was a day. Until just now, there was actually someone who insulted his master, and actually said that his master was a coward. Hiding in the depths of the mountains, not daring to come out. Then, he could also use this opportunity to teach the person in front of him a good lesson, and at the same time, logically show his identity, and accept the worship of these people. Moreover, Gao Yuan also saw the young lady at the opposite table. Her appearance was extremely sweet and she also had the aura of an alchemist. However, her grade was not very high. Since that was the case, it was a good opportunity for him to display his strength in front of these people. There were two other people at Gao Yuan's table, a man and a woman. These two people were disciples of a very powerful local sect. The three of them were also having some exchanges here. After all, an alchemist like Gao Yuan would naturally attract many people to try to rope him in. Brother Gao Yuan, don't be impatient. I am very curious. What kind of person can be so ignorant? The man sitting at the side also stood up. At the same time, he inadvertently revealed the symbol of his robe. It's the elite disciple of the Ardent Earth sect. I didn't expect there to be so many crouching tigers and hidden dragons in this tiny inn. The Ardent Earth sect is the #1 sect within a 1,000-mile radius. Even the major forces in the Black Fire City have to pay tribute to the Ardent Earth sect regularly. Tian Fei stood in front of these people and looked at them expressionlessly. If these people were touched, Tian Fei would not hesitate to throw them out. I advise you not to act rashly. Tian Fei said. What elite disciples of the Ardent Earth sect? In Tian Fei's eyes, they were all trash. Even Tian Fei, who was a core disciple of the Mystic Yuan sect, had a much higher status than the disciples of the Ardent Earth sect. There were many layers of difficulties and dangers between a first-rate sect and a second-rate sect. What a joke. This is the first time that I, Meng Xinghua, have heard that someone dares to threaten me in the Black Fire City. Meng Xinghua immediately sneered, and he suddenly circulated his Yuan power and attacked. Gathering the energy of the grade 9 Yuan ancestor realm in his body, he directly clawed at Tian Fei. It was obvious that he wanted to crush Tian Fei's throat with this move. This brat was really ruthless. He did not hold back at all. When Tian Fei saw this, he snorted coldly. He stretched out his hand and easily caught Meng Xinghua's 5 fingers in his hand. Then, he gently pressed his wrist down. Crack! Meng Xinghua's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Die for me. However, although Meng Xinghua felt the pain of his 5 fingers and wrist being broken, he did not immediately cry out. Instead, he continued to wave his hand, clenched his 5 fingers into a fist, and directly punched towards Tian Fei's head. Bang! Before this punch could be exerted, Tian Fei had already punched Meng Xinghua's face. Immediately, blood spurted out from his nose. At the same time, this punch probably smashed Meng Xinghua's head quite hard. Meng Xinghua's body staggered, and he directly retreated before fainting on the spot where he stood. You're courting death. Seeing that Tian Fei had injured Meng Xinghua, Gao Yuan could no longer sit still. His palms faced each other, and a ball of flame appeared in his hands. Boom! That terrifying flame suddenly condensed. Looking at the flame in Gao Yuan's hands, it was actually a beast flame of a high grade. It's the purple wisteria silver fire flame. Someone recognized the flame in Gao Yuan's hands and immediately exclaimed in shock. At the same time, an extremely envious look appeared in his eyes. Die for me. Gao Yuan directly transformed the purple wisteria silver fire flame into a fire vine, which directly swept towards Tian Fei. If they were of the same age, they would definitely be shocked by the power of such a powerful flame. However, Tian Fei's strength far surpassed Gao Yuan's. Tian Fei gently pushed his palms outwards, and the terrifying fire vine was directly blown back. With a smack, it directly hit Gao Yuan's face. Bang! Gao Yuan's body was instantly sent flying by this whip. He was simply at a disadvantage under his own whip. When the surrounding diners saw that the disciple of the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints and the elite disciple of the Ardent Earth sect had been defeated by this young man, they immediately attracted countless gazes. Who is this person? How can he be so strong? From the aura I saw just now, this kid is at least at the Yuan King realm. Is he really that awesome? How many rounds does this count? Didn't you see that young man who has been sitting and eating peanuts? This young man is probably the real deal. He didn't even bat an eyelid when such a big matter happened just now. In the underworld, it didn't matter if one was not strong enough, but one had to have a good eye. Some people naturally saw that Li Zongjiu was the real expert at a glance. Tian Fei could only be considered as Li Zongjiu's bodyguard. Therefore, the crowd was also guessing the identity of Li Zongjiu and the others. Now, there was only one woman sitting at the opposite table. It wasn't that this woman was unfathomable and could remain calm in such a situation, but it was because she had reacted too quickly. Originally, this matter should have been left to these men to deal with. However, who knew that these 2 men would be directly knocked to the ground, and one of them would be directly sent flying? You. Do you know who you sent flying? The woman finally mustered all her strength and slowly spat out this sentence. However, Tian Fei did not answer and sat back down. Obviously, he did not take this woman seriously. This was still a demeanor he had. Li Yun lowered her head and smashed the chopsticks in her mouth. The current situation was more or less because of her. She had only asked 2 questions along the way and had directly caused 2 problems. Although Li Zongjiu had dealt with them forcefully, if this continued, there would definitely be big trouble. She knew that many little things made a mickle. Therefore, Li Yun simply stopped talking. Remember, the people of the Li family roam the underworld. If people don't offend us, we won't offend them. If someone wants to offend you, you don't have to be suspicious. Just knock them down. When you meet these pretentious people, you have to completely knock them down. Otherwise, they will think that the people of the Li family can be bullied by anyone. Li Zongjio said slowly. The waiter quickly served a table of dishes. Obviously, he had seen the scene just now. However, since these were the bills of the broken tables, naturally, they would be handed to the losing party. Even the elite disciples of the Ardent Earth sect dared to hit them. How could these people be simple? Chapter 789. Li Yun nodded her head in understanding. Previously, when she came out, she was indeed filled with curiosity about the underworld. But now, it seemed that one needed to have sufficient strength to be able to roam the underworld. Otherwise, it was very likely that she would be knocked down by others, and it would be very easy for her to encounter danger. For Li Yan, such a matter was very profound for her. She also thought that in the future, she would have to cultivate well. If she really could not do it, she would at least need to hire an expert to protect her. However, this meal was obviously not going to be a peaceful one. The female disciple of the Ardent Earth sect directly carried her companion away and helped Gao Yuan, who was outside the door, up. Originally, Gao Yuan was prepared to rush in and have a life-and-death duel with Tian Fei, but he was stopped by the female disciple. It was already very miserable for him to be beaten out just now. If he rushed in and was beaten out again, wouldn't he be humiliated twice? However, Gao Yuan would definitely not let this matter pass so easily. This matter, I will definitely ask my master to make a decision. Gao Yuan's eyes were filled with cold light. He looked at Li Zongjio's direction and unwillingly wiped the dust on his body. Just you wait. The diners in the inn also sat at the side with great interest. Even after they finished eating, they did not leave. Instead, they ordered a few more bottles of old wine and waited for the next good show. Gao Yuan was directly thrown out of the inn. Meng Xinghua was directly punched until his face was like a flower blooming. If he could swallow this mouthful of wine, he would be an elite disciple for nothing. The inn's shopkeeper was also quickly calculating the abacus in his hand. After seeing this, the waiters below also came up curiously. Shopkeeper, what do you think you are doing here? Ha! The shopkeeper directly pressed the abacus in his hand and glared at the waiter. Only then did the waiter realize that he seemed to have said something wrong and hurriedly blew on his mouth twice. I'm calculating how many tables and chairs will be damaged after this fight. Hurry up and replace those empty tables with the old ones that had problems. Don't break my new tables. The shopkeeper hurriedly said. Brother, do you think those people who just left will call their parents here? After Li Yun was full, she raised her head and looked at Li Zongjio. During the meal, Li Yun did not say much. However, after this question was thrown out, before Li Zongjio could even answer, Li Yun had already felt a fierce aura directly attacking the entrance of the inn. Suddenly, the entire inn's people directly felt an extremely strong pressure. Oh, isn't this shopkeeper Tsang? What kind of wind blew manager Tsang to our small store? When the shopkeeper raised his head and saw an old man dressed in black walking in, he suddenly quivered. The identity of the person in front of him was not simple. He was the shopkeeper of Black Fire City's Heavenly Pill Pavilion branch. With Black Fire City's geographical environment and location, it was not a simple matter to manage the alchemist business in Black Fire City. However, the shopkeeper of Black Fire City's Heavenly Pill Pavilion branch was a ruthless person. When he came here, he directly formed a good relationship with a few large sects and directly made the Heavenly Pill Pavilion the leader of a joint force. In this way, it was naturally against the rules of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. However, it directly raised the local alchemist business to a very complete and regulated level. Originally, Black Fire City was a mess. However, under Tsang Yan's management, everything was organized neatly. Moreover, he had tied the various forces into a tight rope. As long as Tsang Yan gave the order, there would be at least 5 or 6 sect leaders who would jump out to help Tsang Yan kill people. Therefore, when Tsang Yan came here, the shopkeeper was immediately shocked. What kind of situation was this that even Song Yen was alarmed? Get lost! Song Yen directly waved his hand and sent the shopkeeper flying. Behind him, a few more people walked in. One of them was wearing a black robe. His entire body was covered under the black robe. Although his body was skinny, it gave people the feeling of a furnace. One could clearly feel that this black-robed person's body contained a powerful force. If it was released, it would be as terrifying as a volcanic eruption. When they saw the black-robed figure appear, the surrounding diners could not help but move their butts away. They subconsciously wanted to distance themselves from the person in front of them. Who is it that injured my disciple? The black-robed old man's voice was hoarse. However, it was obvious that it contained a wave of anger. After that, Gao Yuan also walked out from behind the old man. There was a sinister look in his eyes. However, his heart was already blooming with joy. He could not wait to beat Li Zongjiu and the other two to death on the ground. Li Zongjiu knocked on the table. He said to Li Yun. For people who don't know what's good for them, don't waste your energy next time. Just kill them directly. That's the cleanest way. Li Yun listened to Li Zongjiu's teachings and felt that it was strange. There was no specific conflict, but he directly escalated to killing people. Wasn't this a little too careless? Master, it's that table of adulterers. Gao Yuan pointed at Li Zongjiu's table and said. You have no manners. Who are you calling adulterers? Li Yun originally thought that Li Zongjiu's methods could not be so cruel and immoral. However, when she heard Gao Yuan's insulting words, she immediately slammed her hand on the table. Her anger soared to the heavens. At this moment, she wished that she could take action herself and teach the person in front of her a lesson. Impudent. When the black-robed old man saw Li Yun stand up and curse his disciple for having no manners, he was at least half apparent. Wasn't this pointing at his nose and scolding him? Immediately, a terrifying wave of Yuan Qi surged from the old man's body and blasted towards Li Yun. Li Yun naturally could not block the old man's attack. Tian Fei was the first to stand up. With a swoosh, he threw the chair he was sitting on forward. Bang! The chair was smashed into pieces. In the blink of an eye, Tian Fei was already standing in front of Li Yun with the Heavenly Xian sword in his hand. Although the Heavenly Xian sword's forging strength was not bad, it was not invincible. It was not easy for it to enter Li Zongjiu's eyes. In any case, Tian Fei was by his side as a bodyguard. Therefore, he handed the Heavenly Xian sword to him. The Heavenly Xian sword's powerful aura split the old man's aura into two, easily breaking it apart. When the old man saw the Heavenly Xian sword in Tian Fei's hand, he could clearly feel the extraordinary power of the sword. Instantly, his heart turned cold. It seemed that the identities of these brats were not simple. However, so what if they were not simple? Putting aside the fact that he had the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's manager by his side, his reputation as the pill saint of the Qiyun prefecture was not just for show. At the very least, he had the strength to back it up. No matter which prefecture you were from, it was useless in the Qiyun prefecture. If you were from the Qiyun prefecture, then there was no need for him to be afraid. In the Qiyun prefecture, he had never been afraid of anyone. When he thought about how powerful he was in the Qiyun prefecture, the old man straightened his back and stared at the person in front of him. Brat, take this sword as the interest to compensate me. As his voice faded, an extremely terrifying flame rose from the old man's body. On his sleeves, there seemed to be a light blue flame dancing. Deep Sea Netherworld Flame. Chapter 790. When this wisp of flame appeared, the surrounding air seemed to have become extremely dark and gloomy. Seeing this situation, the surrounding diners involuntarily tightened their clothes. At the same time, they were also afraid that the flames would land on their bodies. It's the Nether Pill Saint. Deep-sea netherworld flame. I never expected that young man to be the disciple of the Nether Pill Saint. I heard that the Nether Pill Saint's deep-sea netherworld flame can silently freeze a person's vitality. Although it is a flame, it is colder than the 1,000-year ice. Someone exclaimed in amazement. Li Yun was also a little nervous because the person in front of her was not someone to be trifled with. Don't worry. Sit down. Li Zongjiu waved his hand. Tian Fei, chop off one of his arms. Li Zongjiu ordered. After receiving Li Zongjiu's order, Tian Fei's eyes became extremely fierce. Although the deep-sea netherworld flame was very strong, the Nether Pill Saint's strength was similar to his. They were both 5th-grade Yuan monarchs. With the Tianqin sword in his hand, he was able to suppress the Nether Pill Saint. Tian Fei immediately swung the heavenly Xian sword in his hand forward. Boom! The Tianqin sword's sharp sword qi immediately rushed towards the Nether Pill Saint. The Nether Pill Saint immediately released the deep-sea netherworld flame in his hand. Clang! When the sword qi and the flame collided, it immediately released a powerful shock wave. As the two of them fought, their auras were extremely intense. After exchanging a few blows, the Nether Pill Saint realized that he was unable to take down Tian Fei. He immediately became anxious. This was such a shameful matter. Oh no! The Nether Pill Saint accidentally revealed a flaw, which was immediately seized by Tian Fei. The Nether Pill Saint slashed his sword at the arm. When Zhang Yan saw this, he immediately waved his hand and a surge of energy shot towards Tian Fei. Although Tian Fei was prepared for this kind of power, he was still caught off guard. He only had enough time to use his sword to block in front of him. An extremely overbearing force instantly blasted Tian Fei's body. Tian Fei was blasted away along with his sword. He was sent flying out of the inn. Plop! Li Yun suddenly opened her eyes wide. So far, Li Yun only knew that Tian Fei was very strong, but he had never been defeated. But now, he was sent flying by someone. Of course, he was nervous. After all, whether Li Zongjiu could fight or not was still a problem. The Nether Pill Saint heaved a sigh of relief. Just a moment ago, he was almost taken down. Fortunately, Zhang Yan had intervened. How dare you attack a guest of my heavenly pill pavilion? Men, take him down. Zhang Yan exuded the aura of an official. In Blackwater City, Zhang Yan's status was indisputable. Even if the city lord came, he would have to show him some respect. As for the two of you, come with me as well. Zhang Yan signaled the Nether Pill Saint not to take action for the time being. After all, it was inevitable that there would be risks if they took action. With their status in the underworld, there was no need for them to take risks. They immediately looked at Li Zongjiu. If Li Zongjiu refused, they could only do things according to the official rules. They would directly ask someone to take Li Zongjiu back. You. Li Zongjiu looked at Zhang Yan and said disdainfully. As for Tian Fei, who was sent flying, Li Zongjiu did not care whether he was dead or not. If he was dead, he would kill the person in front of him and let him be buried with him. I am the manager of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Master Nether is an important member of my Heavenly Pill Pavilion. You say that I am not qualified to take you away. If you know what's good for you, follow us obediently. Otherwise, you will be executed on the spot. Zhang Yan said coldly. He was already so old. If he had to take action every time to establish his prestige, it would be too tiring for him. He could casually move his finger and countless experts would be mobilized. Then, you come. Li Zongjiu waved his hand. Li Yun, who was beside him, looked at Li Zongjiu nervously. Can he do it? The Li family's influence here did not seem to have any influence. She guessed that these people did not know the Li family's name. Since she was not familiar with the place, it was inevitable that such a situation would occur. Therefore, Li Yan was also very nervous. Even if she loved him, she could only rely on Li Zhongjiu. Alas, it was all her fault. The Jianghu was too dangerous. There is no need for Manager Tsang to take action to capture a few thieves. I did not expect that there would be someone in Black Fire City who dares to take action against the people of my Scorching Earth sect. This protector would like to see who exactly is it. Just as he was speaking, the door of the inn was directly crushed by a powerful force with a bang. The broken door frame was simply a heart-wrenching sound in the eyes of the inn staff. Did they have to be so arrogant? It was as if a group of robbers had barged in. However, they could not afford to offend these people. Therefore, they could only endure for now. The one who walked in was a man wearing a dark red robe. His eyebrows were also fiery red in color. Seeing such an appearance, the surrounding people were shocked. It's Protector Huamei from the Scorching Earth sect. It is said that this person is extremely protective. Not only that, I also heard that this person is best at torture. I heard that this person created the fire needle stimulation method. No one can withstand the torture of his acupuncture method. Why is such a ruthless person here? When Li Yan heard about the origin of this person, she became even more nervous. What should she do? This person seemed to be even more powerful. Moreover, he seemed to be the elder of the sect of those people just now. This time, they were done for. If it was only one or two people, perhaps Li Zhongjiu could handle them. However, he had offended 3 parties. Moreover, these 3 parties seemed to be in cahoots. If they joined forces, how could Li Zhongjiu be their opponent? If Protector Huamei is going to take action, then this old man naturally does not need to worry. Tsang Yan suddenly smiled. This was Tsang Yan's position in Black Fire City. In Black Fire City, he did not even need to take the initiative to summon people to protect him. This was how powerful he was. Long, why don't we pay some money? Li Yun whispered in Li Zhongjiu's ear when she saw that the other party had the advantage in numbers. Although they might not be able to win in a fight, if they were to talk about compensation, their Li family could take out a lot of money to compensate. This time, Li Tianqing had also specially given them a sum of money to settle some troubles outside. There were so many people present, which one of them was not an expert? Li Yan spoke in a low voice, but to them, her voice was as deafening as a thunderclap. Moreover, Li Yun's words directly made the 3 of them explode on the spot. You are courting death, stinky girl. Huamei suddenly flew into a rage. He was the dignified protector of Ardent Earth sect. This kind of matter could be settled with money. However, before Huamei could take action, he directly felt that there seemed to be some movement in front of him. When he looked carefully, he saw a shadow directly rushing towards his face. Pa! A bright red handprint appeared on Huamei's square face. Be careful with your words. Chapter 791. Huamei was caught off guard and was slapped by someone. The one who slapped him was, of course, Li Zhongjiu. The slap on Huamei's face was loud and clear. At the same time, Huamei's mouth was filled with blood. Immediately, Huamei was burning with rage. At this moment, he could no longer care about anything else. He only had one goal, which was to kill Li Zhongjiu in front of him. You're courting death. Huamei slapped towards Li Zhongjiu with a palm that contained extremely pure flame energy. It was a move that he casually used, and it was the top yuan skill of the Ardent Earth sect. Raging Fire Cloud Palm. However, the palm energy had not yet landed on Li Zhongjiu, and its power had not even been released. Li Zhongjiu pointed at Huamei's palm. Qi. In an instant, Huamei's power was like a deflated balloon. The yuan qi in his body dissipated instantly. In the next second, Li Zhongjiu grabbed his arm and slammed him over his shoulder onto the ground. Bang! A large crack appeared on the ground. What? Song Yan didn't expect this little brat to make a move so quickly and take down Protector Hua Mei in an instant. One had to know that Hua Mei's combat strength was among the top 10 in Ardent Earth sect. God's Wrath. A terrifying firestorm immediately brewed between Song Yan's palms. Li Zongjiu opened his mouth and blew out a mouthful of air. Boom! It was as if a terrifying storm had swept across the scene, blowing the flames in Song Yan's hands towards the Nether Pill Saint. Fortunately, the Nether Pill Saint was not an ordinary person. He reacted in time and dodged to the side while activating his Yuan Qi defense. However, this sudden fire also burned the Nether Pill Saint quite a bit. I'll capture that stinking girl first. Since he had already made his move, there was no need to wait any longer. Immediately, the Nether Pill Saint leaped and rushed towards Li Yun. It was this stinking girl who wanted to use money to humiliate them. Naturally, the Nether Pill Saint could not tolerate it. Therefore, the Nether Pill Saint had long wanted to tear Li Yun's mouth apart. Li Zongjiu looked like a ruthless person. He might as well capture Li Yun first. He did not believe that this kid would not obediently submit. However, as soon as he said this, the Nether Pill Saint had a bad premonition. He had originally wanted to rush towards Li Yan, but the back of his collar had been grabbed by someone. Whoosh! The Nether Pill Saint was thrown away. At the same time, Li Zongjiu pointed at an acupuncture point on the back of his neck. His body instantly stiffened and he could not move at all. He was thrown away as if he was a person without any cultivation foundation who was ruthlessly smashed to the ground. Bang! Master! Meng Xinghua shouted when he saw the situation. When the Nether Pill Saint fell to the ground, he seemed to have spat out a mouthful of blood. Coupled with the sound of cracking, it seemed like several of his bones had been broken. Song Yan had never expected this. Li Zongjiu's skills were extraordinary. Hua Mei, who was lying on the ground, wanted to get up, but Li Zongjiu directly chopped down with his foot. Pfff. The blood spurted out like a fountain. You should recognize this thing. Li Zongjiu casually threw a token to Song Yan. Song Yan originally thought that Li Zongjiu had thrown out some hidden weapon, but when he saw the aura of the token, he felt a little familiar and reached out to catch it. However, when Song Yan caught it, he already knew that it was an identity token. He immediately understood Li Zongjiu's intention. Li Zongjiu had finally revealed his identity. This kid probably did not know how much trouble he would cause by doing what he did. Did he really think that his identity would allow him to move unhindered in Blackfire City? What, this? This is... When Song Yan carefully looked at the identity token in his hand, his eyes suddenly widened. Even his hands began to tremble. Nether Storm. I'm going to kill you, kid. The Nether Pill Saint, who had recovered, swallowed an elixir to temporarily suppress his injuries. Then, he directly threw a big move at Li Zongjiu. There seemed to be a flaming storm brewing between his palms. Li Zongjiu, on the other hand, stood still. Song Yan did not hesitate at all and directly slapped at the Nether Pill Saint. Stop! The Nether Pill Saint did not have much defense against Song Yan. In addition, he already hated Li Zongjiu, so when Song Yan attacked, he did not have time to block. Song Yan hurriedly threw out a palm and immediately sent the Nether Pill Saint flying. Boom! The Nether Pill Saint's whole body crashed in the direction of the stairs. At the same time, the power between his palms quickly spread out in all directions. Bang! 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 In an instant, the whole inn was in a state of chaos. All the tables and chairs were directly sent flying. Most of the onlookers were directly blasted away. Ouch! Ah! Screams came from all around. Manager Tsang, what is the meaning of this? When Meng Xinghua saw that Song Yan had actually sent his master flying, he was extremely puzzled and immediately roared out in anger. You have no right to speak here. Tsang Yan waved his sleeve, and without even looking at Meng Xinghua, he sent Meng Xinghua flying. Tsang Yan, cough cough, what is the meaning of this? The Nether Pill Saint was lying on the ground. Being interrupted in an instant was very harmful to his body. He hurriedly ate an elixir to calm himself down. What the Nether Pill Saint did not understand was why Tsang Yan would suddenly turn around and deal with him. When the palm landed on his body just now, it was only a small shock. Most of it was the backlash of his own move. The Nether Pill Saint, who had just adjusted himself, saw his disciple being sent flying by Tsang Yan in the blink of an eye. Was Tsang Yan crazy? Shut up. Men, arrest these people who offended the honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Lock them up in the dungeon and wait for my orders. Tsang Yan ordered. Immediately, a group of people from the Heavenly Pill Pavilion rushed in from outside the house. They quickly captured the Nether Pill Saint and the unconscious protector Huamei on the ground. They directly took them away. I did not know that the honorary elder would come. Tsang Yan did not treat you well, please forgive me. Just a second ago, he was so aggressive that he was determined to kill Li Zongjiu. In the next second, he was incomparably respectful to Li Zongjiu. Instead, he bent his body and bowed to Li Zongjiu. Everyone who saw this scene widened their eyes and dropped their jaws. Some people even pinched their own arms, wondering if they had seen wrongly. How could such a thing happen? I didn't hear wrongly, right? Honorary Elder. The Honorary Elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion? The Heavenly Pill Pavilion has the position of an Honorary Elder? Everyone had different opinions, but whether there was such a position or not, they only needed to look at Tsang Yan's face to know. With Tsang Yan's identity and status in Black Fire City, how could there be such a big reversal? How could there be such a huge reversal? There must be something fishy going on. Li Zongjiu listened to Tsang Yan's words and said indifferently. Since you are guilty, slap yourself 20 times before you leave. Chapter 792. 20 slaps to the face. And he even slapped himself. The onlookers at the side widened their eyes. They had never seen such an exciting thing in their lives. Some of them clearly knew that if they continued to stay here and saw such a scene, they might really be in trouble. However, if they left now, it would be a huge loss for them. Such a rare scene, if they missed it, they did not know how long they would have to wait. Those who lived in Black Fire City, even if they did not live in Black Fire City, as long as they had heard of Tsang Yan's name, they would know how powerful he was. But now, a young man who was not even 20 years old had made such a request. Would Tsang Yan do as he was told? Or would Tsang Yan choose to kill this person directly? Everyone held their breaths, waiting to see how things would unfold. Tsang Yan was naturally cursing Li Zongjiu in his heart. In fact, he was even a little angry. Even though Li Zongjiu was an honorary elder and was extremely important to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, he, Tsang Yan, might not be able to order him to commit such a self-harming act. Naturally, it was not a problem for Tsang Yan to be injured and bleed a little. But in this situation, such an excessive request, it was a matter of face. How could he comply? If this slap really landed on his face, then he, Tsang Yan, would not be able to continue living in Black Fire City in the future. With his current status, if he were to be humiliated by a little kid, then where would his prestige be in the future? Therefore, in Tsang Yan's heart, he was naturally unwilling to do so. When Li Zongjiu's honorary elder token appeared, Tsang Yan already knew who Li Zongjiu was. The Heavenly Pill Pavilion naturally had to spread the news of an honorary elder's appearance. Otherwise, if these people accidentally offended their honorary elder, wouldn't it be like a flood rushing against the Dragon King's temple? Furthermore, Li Zongjiu had been an honorary elder for a period of time. The news had already spread everywhere. Ordinary people might not pay too much attention to it. They might think that this was just a way for the Heavenly Pill Pavilion to attract attention. In reality, it was not that powerful. However, as an internal member of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, he naturally knew of Li Zongjiu's strength and potential. Elder, what happened earlier was Tsang Yan's fault. He had eyes but failed to see and offended you. This 10,000-year longevity fruit is my apology. Tsang Yan handed over a brocade box. Money makes the world go round. There was nothing that money couldn't solve. If they did, then they would use pills, spiritual herbs, origin tools, and origin stones. This kind of thing had to be useful at least. Even Tsang Yan would feel the pinch if he had to hand over the 10,000-year longevity fruit. In order to obtain this 10,000-year longevity fruit, he had paid a great price. Even now, he was still reluctant to consume it. Even so, the effects of this 10,000-year longevity fruit would definitely be extraordinary if consumed directly. It might even be comparable to the effects of a grade 7 spiritual herb. Li Zongjiu did not even blink as he kept the box. Li Yun, who was behind him, rubbed her eyes when she saw this scene. The situation had changed too quickly. Even with her intelligence, she still could not figure out what was going on. It seemed that Li Zongjiu had only taken out a token, but it was enough to make this seemingly powerful old man in front of her fearful. He had originally wanted to kill the two of them, but now he had taken out a precious medicinal herb. This item definitely could not be bought outside. Looking at the covetous looks on the faces of the people around them, it was obvious. This item was definitely not simple. A 10,000-year item must be very powerful. Although Li Yun was also an alchemist, her realm had not reached such a level. This item was almost at the level of a grade 7 spiritual herb. It was simply a wishful thinking. Seeing Li Zongjiu accept his item, Tsang Yan felt a sharp pain in his heart. However, he was also very glad. At least he only had to pay a small price and did not lose face. Although the 10,000-year longevity fruit was precious, it could not compare to his current status. Then reduce it by 10. Li Zongjiu said indifferently. The smile on Tsang Yan's face froze before it could even spread. He had never thought that Li Zongjiu would say this. What did he mean? Reduce it by 10. Could this 10,000-year longevity fruit only be worth 10 slaps from these mouths? This was obviously raising the price. It was obvious that he wanted to rip Tsang Yan off. Tsang Yan's face turned extremely ugly. Although he had a few treasures on him, he was reluctant to sell them. Soon, Tsang Yan made up his mind. Even if he was the honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, he was still a manager. He was in charge of many affairs in Black Fire City. Li Zongjiu, you are the honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, so I respect you. However, don't think that with this token, you can do whatever you want in the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. If you insist on making things difficult for me, then we can only fight to the death. Tsang Yan threw the token back to Li Zongjiu angrily. Li Yan could not understand what was going on. Why was she angry again? Li Zongjiu, on the other hand, laughed. The corners of his mouth curled up. He looked at Tsang Yan. Like I said, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion has such good conditions, yet it is still unable to become one of the top forces in the empire. Today, I finally understand. As the honorary elder, I have to clean up the tumors in the Heavenly Pill Pavilion for the glory of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Li Zongjiu said. The content of his words caused Tsang Yan's heart to jump. Li Zongjiu, don't you dare! Tsang Yan shouted angrily. In the next moment, Li Zongjiu's eyes became extremely ferocious. In the next moment, his figure flashed and he rushed in front of Tsang Yan. When Tsang Yan saw the change in Li Zongjiu's eyes, he was already prepared. When Li Zongjiu rushed out, Tsang Yan immediately activated his Yuan power. At the same time, he pushed his own aura to its peak. Grade 8 Yuan King. Boom! You don't have the ability to defeat me. Song Yan roared. However, in the next moment, the desolate heaven essence in Li Zongjiu's hand broke through Song Yan's Yuan power defense. Diamond chain mail. A golden light was released from Song Yan's body. A black robe immediately appeared on his body. In the face of such a terrifying threat, he naturally had to use his strongest defense. Bang! The black robe was instantly torn into pieces. At the same time, the rod hit Song Yan's head. Song Yan's head immediately exploded on the spot. His eyes widened and his head exploded. Blood splattered and gushed out like a fountain. The terrifying bloody light rushed to the ceiling. Then, Song Yan's corpse fell to the ground. When they saw this scene, everyone present felt a sense of suffocation. That person, wasn't he the overlord of Black Fire City, Song Yan? Although he was not the overlord, he was definitely one of the big shots in Black Fire City. Song Yan's head exploded just like that. Wouldn't it have been better to just give him a few slaps? Why did he have to give up his life? Sigh. Li Zongjiu felt extremely helpless in his heart. When it came to killing people, it was because he had no other choice. He was not a psychopathic killer. Chapter 793. When Li Zongjiu killed Song Yan with a single strike of his staff. The surrounding people couldn't believe their eyes. However, there were still Song Yan's men waiting outside. When they rushed in, they saw Song Yan lying in a pool of blood. How dare you kill the manager of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion? When the leader saw the corpse, his mind went blank. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Do you want to die here too? Li Zongjiu glanced at the leader of the guards. The guard was well aware of Li Zongjiu's identity. After all, Song Yan had already said that Li Zongjiu was the legendary honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. There were only a few honorary elders in the entire Heavenly Pill Pavilion. To the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, guards like them were considered outsiders. However, when he saw his manager die, he had to roar. At the same time, it was also a way to boost his morale. Otherwise, he would have at least said something. This is a serious matter. If you don't explain it clearly, don't even think about leaving safely. The guard said. After all, he was loyal to Song Yan. Now that Song Yan was dead, facing an honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, he couldn't make up his mind. After leaving these harsh words, he left with his men. At the same time, he carried Song Yan's corpse away. The group of people also left in a grandiose manner. At the same time, Hua Mei and Nether Pill Saint were also taken away. Along with his disciple, Meng Xinghua. None of the three could escape. This was the order of the manager before he died. Naturally, it had to be strictly carried out. When the onlookers in the inn saw Li Zongjiu take care of the three forces alone, they were shocked. Moreover, he killed Song Yan. They admired Li Zongjiu even more. This kind of action was too cool. They couldn't believe their eyes. This inn is too shabby. Let's go. Li Zongjiu said to Li Yun. Li Yun was now slightly frightened by the bloody scene in front of her. It wasn't the sight of blood spurting out from his neck that was frightening. It was because things were developing too fast that Li Yun couldn't keep up with the pace. That was why such a situation happened. Oh, I'm coming. Li Yun followed behind Li Zongjiu. As for Li Zongjiu, Tian Fei was also woken up by Li Zongjiu. Tian Fei was actually knocked unconscious by Li Zongjiu. This was too embarrassing. The group of people swaggered out of here. The innkeeper wanted to cry but had no tears. Several people had fought in his inn, but in the end, there was no explanation. He didn't even know where to find an explanation for this matter. My door. My hall, even across dozens of streets, they could clearly hear the innkeeper's heart-wrenching cries. Li Zongjiu naturally didn't care. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourself for being unlucky. The three of them stayed in this medium-sized inn. Some of the more high-class inns were directly full. There were too many rich people. Although Li Zongjiu was overbearing, he couldn't just run into someone's room and throw them out. Don't worry. Even if the sky falls, I'll be there. Li Zongjiu looked at Li Yun's somewhat frightened appearance and said. Li Yun nodded her head vigorously. Today's journey was really too dangerous. Even an expert like Tian Fei couldn't handle it. Fortunately, Li Zongjiu had a way. Moreover, it seemed that this Li Zongjiu's strength was far above Tian Fei's. This dark horse elixir assembly should be a competition for everyone to refine elixirs together, right? Li Yun looked at Li Zongjiu and asked. At the same time, she hoped that Li Zongjiu wouldn't participate in some strange competition. Moreover, the name of the competition sounded quite normal. Most likely, nothing bad would happen. Something like that. Li Zongjiu recalled. Although participating in this dark horse elixir assembly, whether it was during the competition or after the competition, only less than half of the alchemists could survive. However, relatively speaking, the competition was quite peaceful. At least, there wasn't a large-scale massacre. Only the alchemists' skills were inferior, but the people's hearts were not enough. That's good. I'm going to cultivate too. Remember to call me tomorrow. Li Yun said. Then, Li Yun turned around and entered her room. Li Zongjiu was safe and sound, and everything was calm and tranquil. However, in Black Fire City, it caused a huge uproar. Zhang Yan's death immediately caused the few large factions within Black Fire City, which had been oppressed for a long time, to erupt one after another. At the same time, those who had long coveted the authority and status in Zhang Yan's hands began to fight with each other at this moment. Until now, no one had come to find trouble with Li Zongjiu. Because there was really no need. After all, Li Zongjiu's strength was right there. Zhang Yan was the honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Regardless of whether it was true or not, if someone wanted to avenge Zhang Yan's death, it would naturally be someone from the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. If the people above were not anxious, then there was even less of a need for the people below to be anxious. It was better for them to focus on snatching some benefits that were related to themselves first. For a time, within Black Fire City, there was smoke everywhere. Whether it was in the open or in the dark, there were some disturbances. Although Zhang Yan was said to be greedy, he did have his own methods. The scattered forces in the surroundings were all tidied up neatly. Li Yun sat cross-legged on the bed, meditating and cultivating. Li Zongjiu had previously taught her a set of human flame cultivation techniques. If she cultivated this set of techniques, she would be able to directly produce a kind of flame energy from her own body. As for what kind of energy it was, Li Yun was not very clear. However, she knew that it must be a powerful move. In order not to disappoint Li Zongjiu, and at the same time, to revitalize the family, Li Zongjiu could not be the only one working hard in such a big family. If that was the case, it would be very difficult to support such a family. Therefore, Li Yun was determined to work hard in her cultivation. However, in the latter half of the night, there were some shocking noises coming from everywhere in Black Fire City. It was so noisy that Li Yun was very dissatisfied when she heard it. Why is Black Fire City so noisy in the middle of the night? Li Yun could not help but complain. Little did they know that the situation in Black Fire City today was actually very much related to Li Yun's words. Chapter 794. The next day. Feng Tengfei and the rest of the people from 100 Medicine Pavilion went straight to Black Fire City. Why does Black Fire City feel weird today? After Feng Tengfei and the rest entered the city, they could clearly feel that the surrounding atmosphere was a little strange. Moreover, when some people stared at them, they were extremely vigilant. The entire city was also filled with a faint smell of blood. It seems that Blackfire City is not very peaceful recently. Feng Tingfei said slowly. He looked around the surrounding situation. Where are my boss and the rest? Kun Erisher asked. Previously, Li Zongjiu directly killed a person at this banquet in exchange for Kun Arashi's opportunity. Of course, Feng Tingfei had to bring Kun Arashi's money. Otherwise, Li Zongjiu would have killed Feng Tingfei directly. With Li Zongjiu's current status, it was not difficult for him to kill Feng Tingfei. He's in the inn not far ahead. Feng Tingfei said. At the same time, he pointed to the front. He had already investigated Li Zongjiu's location on the way here. When he arrived here early in the morning, he had also received a report from the spies in the city. This time, 100 Medicine Pavilion had a total of 3 alchemists participating in the Dark Horse Pill Gathering. Although the 100 Medicine Pavilion was the main member of the Dark Horse Pill Gathering, the 100 Medicine Pavilion did not have the qualifications to control anything because of the enormous power of the Dark Horse Pill Gathering. They could only maintain the beginning of the pill gathering. Even they would not be able to control what would happen after that. The other 2 herbal medicine merchants were also the organizers of the Dark Horse Elixir Gathering. The 3 organizers were also supervising each other. In terms of fairness, they could not overstep their boundaries. As for the other contestant of 100 Medicine Pavilion, he was also an expert who cultivated in Sacred Flame Royal City. Compared to Mr. Lan, this old man was more low-key. In this city, they only opened a small medical hall and focused on practicing alchemy. Their alchemy level had already reached the level of advanced grade 5. The title of South Heaven Pill King was actually an exaggeration. Some experts were capable of challenging the South Heaven Pill King. However, considering the South Heaven Pill King's age at that time, his achievement was indeed not bad. Li Zongjiu and Li Yun were having breakfast in the inn. Tian Fei did not appear. After all, Tian Fei himself also needed to cultivate. Although Tian Fei's talent was good, he had not completely reached the level of Li Zongjiu, who could casually increase his strength. Boss! Kun Arashi's figure appeared at the entrance of the inn, and with a glance, he saw Li Zongjiu's figure. Kun Erisher, you are here. Li Zongjiu saw Kun Erisher and greeted the latter to sit down. This is my cousin, Li Yen. This is Kun Erisher, my friend. Li Zongjiu first introduced the two to each other. Li Yun and Kun Erisher greeted each other, and at the same time, carefully looked at Kun Erisher. Although Li Zongjiu's strength was strong, after all, he was relatively young and had little experience. Perhaps he would encounter some people with ulterior motives who approached him. Therefore, Li Yun also needed to carefully look at Kun Erisher. Elder Li came quickly. Feng Tingfei and the others also came forward and warmly greeted Li Zongjiu. When Li Zongjiu broke through to the 6th grade alchemist realm, they also found out later. Li Zongjiu became the honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, so their Chamber of Commerce naturally had to stand aside. How could they compete with the Heavenly Pill Pavilion? Perhaps the Heavenly Pill Pavilion would use their private power and eliminate them in minutes. Therefore, Feng Tingfei was very respectful to Li Zongjiu. Well, you haven't eaten yet, right? Sit down. Li Zongjiu glanced at him. Originally, Feng Tingfei wanted to introduce the old man beside him to Li Zongjiu. In any case, he was also an alchemy master, but Li Zongjiu didn't seem to have the slightest interest in understanding. This scene caused some dissatisfaction to rise in the old man's heart. Although your talent is good, I'm also a 5th grade alchemist who has been famous for many years. My status and experience in the underworld are far above yours. Young people nowadays are really quite rude. In the old man's heart, he was also very unhappy. Feng Tingfei also quickly smiled and pulled the old man to the side. Come, elderly, it's inevitable to be arrogant when you become famous at such a young age. Don't take it to heart. Feng Tingfei said. Old Mo, you sit down first. I'll ask someone to go to the opposite street and get you 2 pots of good wine. While comforting old Mo, he also asked someone to get the wine. Old Mo thought about it and agreed. There was no need to make things difficult for Li Zongjiu. He was only here to help the 100 Medicine Pavilion obtain victory. With Li Zongjiu's level, he was like a deity coming to this mortal arena. He could easily kill these people in seconds. That would not be a problem. Who are these people? Li Yun asked curiously. Looking at the clothes worn by these people, it seemed that they were not simple. They are the stewards of the 100 Medicine Pavilion. I don't know. Anyway, these people's positions are messy. Li Zongjiu said. Anyway, what Li Zongjiu cared about was the quota of the Dark Horse Alchemy meeting. Rules were rules. With Li Zongjiu's strength, of course, he could force his way into the Dark Horse Alchemy meeting. Even if there was no invitation letter, you could not stop Li Zongjiu. However, in this way, no one would play with you. That would be meaningless, so Li Zongjiu randomly found someone who could give him the right to do so. Since the 100 Medicine Pavilion took the initiative to come to the door, it saved a lot of trouble. What, the steward of the 100 Medicine Pavilion? Since the Li family was in the elixir industry, of course, they knew about the 100 Medicine Pavilion. The level of the 100 Medicine Pavilion was even more powerful than the 1000 Taste Herb Hall. Even when the Li family was weak, the 100 Medicine Pavilion disdained to talk about cooperation with the Li family. Even the one who rejected the Li family was only a small branch of the 100 Medicine Pavilion. As for the steward of the 100 Medicine Pavilion, his status was equivalent to a grand secretary in the imperial court. At least more than half of the affairs of the 100 Medicine Pavilion had to go through the steward. Just now, the steward of the 100 Medicine Pavilion was very respectful to Li Zongjiu. You're not bragging, are you? Li Yun was also thinking that Li Zongjiu deliberately found these people to put on a show in front of her to save face. What's there to brag about? Li Zongjiu could not help but say. How is your cultivation in the Mirror Moon Villa? Hee, it's okay. Koen Erisher finally heard Li Zongjiu ask about his cultivation. He immediately smiled strangely, and his eyes became extremely confident. It's fine as long as it's not bad. After all, he had cultivated under Master Mirror Moon for so long. Even a pig would be a little more powerful, let alone Koen Erisher. That's right, when I arrived, I heard from Feng Tingfei that the Black Horse Pill gathering this time around is not as simple as it seems. Not only are there many people gathered within the Qiyun prefecture, but the hidden families of the other few prefectures have also made their moves. They are extremely concerned about this Black Horse Pill gathering. Koen Arashi's expression became serious. It was as if he wanted to tell Li Zongjiu that the opponent this time was not simple. What do you want to eat? Order it yourself. Chapter 795. Koen Erisher finally understood. Li Zongjiu did not put anyone in his eyes. Enemies were not a threat to Li Zongjiu at all. He had heard that Li Zongjiu had dealt with Qinyuan Villa not long ago. Qinyuan Villa. Koen Erisher had been very worried that Li Zongjiu would die in the villa. But now, it seemed that this Li Zongjiu was quite fierce. He was actually able to survive and burn down the entire Qinyuan Villa. When they had first heard the news, the people who belonged to Li Zongjiu in the Sacred Flame Royal City had all been very nervous, because Emperor Xingyan could have tied them up with just a word. They would not even have had the chance to escape. However, for some unknown reason, nothing had happened to Li Zongjiu even after Li Zongjiu had burned down Qinyuan Villa. Some people even guessed that Li Zongjiu had a powerful background behind him, which was why Emperor Xingyan did not dare to do anything to Li Zongjiu. However, I heard that someone brought the Drunken Dream Flower to the Dark Horse Elixir meeting this time. Koen Erisher said as he rubbed his chin. Obviously, he did not know if this was accurate. Drunken Dream Flower? Isn't that a specialty of the place of termination? Li Zongjiu looked at Koen Erisher and said. The place of termination was an extremely dangerous place on the continent. Even primitive emperors would find it difficult to enter. Every step they took was like walking on thin ice. Even Li Zongjiu, a supreme being back then, had not been able to explore the place of termination. The degree of danger there was much higher than one could imagine. If one casually stepped on a poisonous bug, it was very likely that one would be poisoned to death. Even if one consumed the antidote pill in the shortest time possible, it would be useless. Only death would await them. The drunken dream flower was also a type of extremely poisonous flower in the place of termination. Within a radius of 100 feet, the flower would begin to release its medicinal power. The closer one got, the more they would be controlled by the drunken dream flower. Before one could pluck the flower, one would be immersed in the dreamland. Drunken dream flower. The flower had always been a legend. Its medicinal power was close to grade 7. Back then, Li Zongjiu had relied on his powerful cultivation to pluck one forcefully. The drunken dream flower was a necessary item to refine grade 7 elixir pills. Unexpectedly, the small dark horse elixir gathering had such an unexpected surprise. In addition to the competition of alchemy skills, there was also enough time for them to sell their refined elixir pills. If they wanted to sell the remaining rare and precious herbs, they would naturally be able to maximize their value during the dark horse elixir gathering. As long as one could survive until the dark horse elixir gathering and put the herb up for auction, there would be no risk after the transaction. Everyone's eyes would be fixed on the drunken dream flower. Therefore, Li Zongjiu's interest was piqued. Yes, that's the place. I didn't expect someone to be able to bring something out from there. Lan Kun slapped the board and said. When the two of them talked about this matter, they were very enthusiastic. Li Yun sat at the side and listened carefully to the two of them. She did not understand what they were talking about. Moreover, Li Yun seemed to realize that if she spoke, there would be some problems. Therefore, Li Yun tried to speak as little as possible to avoid any accidents. Tian Fei also walked downstairs at the right time. When he saw Kun Erisher, he was obviously stunned for a moment. However, he quickly went forward to greet him. Ah, this guy, is he here to seek revenge? Kun Erisher obviously recognized Tian Fei. He remembered the arrogance of these people in the past. However, wasn't this guy's Dantian directly destroyed by Li Zongjiu? How could he appear here now? Moreover, it seemed that he had recovered his strength. This is Tian Fei, my subordinate. Li Zongjiu roughly described the situation that day. At this time, Li Yun knew about Tian Fei's origin. After listening to the story, Kun Erisher could only give Li Zongjiu a thumbs up. After such a big circle, only Li Zongjiu could do such a thing. Since we're on the same side, let bygones be bygones. Kun Erisher was not a stingy person. Moreover, since Tian Fei followed Li Zongjiu, he often helped Li Zongjiu to kill people. Moreover, he was often injured. He was really pitiful. Hearing this, he felt very pitiful. The four young people also sat together to eat and chat. Not far from the inn, there was someone who had been staring at Li Zongjiu and the other three. Yesterday, Li Zongjiu killed Song Yan and captured the Nether Pill Saint and Protector Huomei. However, they were directly released the next day. The Ardent Earth sect was not just for show. However, because Song Yan was the manager of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion and had the support of the Imperial Court, the Ardent Earth sect gave him face and did not care about anything. Now that Song Yan was dead, the Ardent Earth sect had directly become stronger. Therefore, Elder Huomei had been dragged out early. The angry Huomei, of course, wanted to find Li Zongjiu to take revenge. However, someone came to take over the scene. When he came in contact with such a situation, Huomei realized that this was no longer a personal problem. The sect had actually sent a deputy sect master. Huomei could only follow Li Zongjiu obediently and understand the situation. When he found out that Li Zongjiu had offended the mystic Yuan sect, Huan Mei's lips curled into a grin. This was simply a case of God retribution for a despicable person. Now, using the sect's resources to take revenge was a very reasonable thing to do. Vice sect leader, do we need to send someone to kidnap this brat tonight? Huan Mei came in front of the deputy sect master and asked. The deputy sect master was a very powerful person. He had been working under the sect master for many years and had been cautious and conscientious. The sect master also trusted the deputy sect master very much and had given most of the power to the deputy sect master. This time, the sect master had received such a task because of his trust in the deputy sect master. Don't worry. This person's strength is at least at the origin emperor realm. Even if he isn't, he must have the ability to fight against an origin emperor realm expert. Don't act rashly. The Dark Horse Elixir meeting tomorrow is an exciting part. Chapter 796. The vice sect master naturally wanted to know how powerful Li Zongjiu was. At least, the vice sect master was not clear about Li Zongjiu's achievements and what he had done. All the information he knew through the introduction was outdated. Who knew what kind of state Li Zongjiu had grown to now, or what kind of situation had occurred before, it was also necessary to know. Therefore, it was naturally the best thing to let the people of the Black Horse Pill Assembly test Li Zongjiu. In this Black Horse town, there were already many forces from all over the world gathered here. First of all, these alchemists who came to participate in the alchemy competition were in high demand. Many forces wanted to invite them to join. If one's own force could have a senior alchemist join, then the speed of growth would be very fast, at least the logistics would be guaranteed. The second day. Black Horse Town. Li Zongjiu and others also came to the Black Horse Town in advance. At this moment, the Black Horse Town was crowded. The Dark Horse Elixir convocation hadn't even started, but news had already spread that the disciple of the Nether Elixir Saint had been crippled. It was said that the Nether Elixir Saint would personally take action to restore his prestige. This matter was indeed very shocking. Although it was said that there were many masters and experts gathered here, but they did not expect that such a situation would occur. Even the disciple of the Nether Pill Saint directly suffered a loss. However, there were still a lot of controversies about the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints. It was said that the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints' behavior of obtaining the primordial fire could not be regarded as glorious. Later, the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints also directly went into hiding, which led to the things that happened later. Some people even said that the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints were cowards, just like what Li Zongjiu said before, that was, the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints were cowards. However, no one dared to say this recently. Because it was said that this group of people had joined forces to break through the realm of 6th grade alchemist. 6th grade alchemist. There were 5 of them all at once. Although he didn't know whether this was true or not. However, there was at least one. Even if there was one, the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints wouldn't be underestimated. They wouldn't continue to use this method to let people laugh at them as much as they liked. Even if there was only one person, they would definitely not dare to continue offending him. Offending a 6th grade alchemist was not a joke. Therefore, the movements of the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints had been rather frequent recently. Even the Dark Horse Pill gathering had appeared in person. However, this didn't seem to be a good start. In just one day, the news of the Dark Pill Saint being beaten up in Blackfire City had already spread to half of the alchemist world. Black Horse Inn. Many alchemists gathered together. Feng Tengfei had already left. After all, he was a member of the organizer. Although Li Zongjiu and the others were brought here by Feng Tengfei, the extent and effect of the Dark Horse Pill gathering depended on their own strength. Another alchemist also sat directly with Li Zongjiu and the others. Tian Fei and Kun Erisher sat on the same bench. Old Mo's personality was relatively low-key and introverted. Since you don't talk to me, I won't talk to you either. It's the same. Black Horse Inn was just the first stop. What are we doing here? Li Yun looked at the slightly strange atmosphere around. It seemed that the people sitting there were looking around nervously, as if they were afraid that their things would be stolen. They were so cautious. Waiting for the start. He glanced at the sundial not far away. Li Zongjiu said. What's the start? There are a total of 108 seats in the inn. But as you can see, many people are standing. There are at least 200 people in the inn. When the noon bell rings, the copper coins will fall. If anyone doesn't catch the copper coins, it's equivalent to being directly eliminated. This is the first round of screening. Li Zongjiu explained. Listening to Li Zongjiu's words, Li Yun's eyes lit up. She was extremely curious. She didn't expect that the underworld competition would be so interesting. It was really interesting. Today, she came out to see it. Everyone you see has a 6th grade medicinal herb in their hands. These people are all alchemists. When Li Zongjiu said this, Li Yun's eyes were filled with shock. So many 6th grade medicinal herbs, so many alchemists. Those who could come here to participate in this competition must be experts. Li Yun was also clear about this, so she also knew that the strength of these people in front of her was not simple. With so many experts and so many valuable things on the table, it was like a living treasury that was moving. These people all have 6th grade medicinal herbs. Li Yun asked in surprise. But then, Li Yun also thought of a very important question. That is, there are only 108 people, but there are more than 200 people. In the end, how many copper coins will there be? How many copper coins will there be? Li Yun asked. 99. Koan Erisher added. This copper coin battle was the first round of the Dark Horse Pill gathering. The invitation token in each person's hand was equivalent to a proof of identity. Only by possessing this token would one's participation and ranking be valid. After that, there would be a notary in every round. It would not be easy to deceive them. Even at the beginning of each round, the token had to be checked. Although Li Yun and Tian Fei did not have an invitation token, it did not prevent them from sitting here. As time passed, everyone's eyes gradually fell on the sundial in front of them. The last tick mark was already very close. Countless pairs of eyes were staring at the beam on the ceiling. No one knew where the copper coins would fly out from. The original clamor within the inn suddenly weakened at this moment. It was as if this gentle breeze had directly taken away all the noise, causing the inn to descend into a deathly silence. Everyone's attention was highly focused. As alchemists, their mental strength was much stronger than ordinary masters. At this moment, their mental strength was intertwined in the inn, forming an extremely dense mental strength that even collided with each other. Is it about to start? Li Yun could not help but ask. The moment Li Yun opened her mouth, a loud bang sounded above the inn. It was the sound of a huge bell. Thunder shook. Dong! The sound of the bell also carried a certain timbre attack. Some alchemists who wanted to use their mental strength to search for the copper coins were instantly hit by the huge bell sound because it was their first time participating. Buzz! A loud bang sounded in their heads, and the world in front of them turned pitch black. Just as his vision darkened, a series of rapid whistling sounds could be heard from his surroundings. Chapter 797. Some of the copper coins suddenly flew out from the pillar. Those who were leaning on the pillar did not even have time to react as they watched the copper coins fly out. Moreover, there were quite a few of them. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Putting the rest of the people aside, the entire room had turned into a mess. It seemed like everyone had started to move. Some people had even started to fight with each other over the copper coins that had appeared first. It was extremely intense. Boom! Within the inn, flames immediately lit up everywhere. Li Zongjiu sat at his original spot while Kun Erisher and old Mo could not sit still any longer. They immediately leaped out. This was because a copper coin had just flashed past their eyes. Swoosh! Kun Erisher immediately leaped forward and grabbed at the copper coin. However, he saw another person rushing out from the opposite side and similarly grabbing at the copper coin. That person's face was dark and ruthless. He directly used his mental energy to condense numerous extremely sharp flying needles and violently flew towards Kun Erisher. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Kun Erisher looked like a newbie. After all, he was so young and was enough to be the first target in these people's eyes. They could even directly kill Kun Erisher. In their eyes, Kun Erisher was not a threat at all. Hee, idiot. Who knew that Kun Erisher would be one step ahead of them? He used his mental energy to directly sweep the copper coin over and grabbed it in his hand. As for the flying needles released by the person in front of him, they were not even worth his attention. It was like a clay ox entering the sea. There was no effect at all. As expected, you are still too young. When the opponent saw Kun Erisher grab the copper coin, he instantly laughed. When Kun Erisher grabbed the copper coin, his body coincidentally landed on the ground. Sensing that something was wrong, Kun Erisher immediately realized that he had grabbed the copper coin. Around him, there were already a few people who had set up traps in advance. The three people simultaneously used their alchemy fire to attack Kun Erisher. In this dark horse pill gathering, the techniques used were already limited. Either they used their alchemy fire or their mental energy. If they used their yuan power, then this was not a competition between alchemists. Boom! The three alchemy fires simultaneously crushed towards Kun Erisher. Being in the middle of it, Kun Erisher felt the crushing power from all directions. Although he was a little surprised at first, he did not panic as he directly looked at the surrounding flames. With a flick of his finger, a flame immediately jumped out from between his fingers. Boom! When the flame appeared in Lan Kuan's hand, it wasn't just the flames of the three people. The flames of the people around them also started to sway slightly. What? Someone's eyes were instantly filled with shock. The flames in Kuan to be DTO to the other flames. Remnant Sun Fire. When the Remnant Sun Fire was displayed, the surrounding people's own flames were quickly suppressed. Extinguish. Lan Kuan merely snapped his fingers, and with a swoosh, the surrounding flames were immediately suppressed and extinguished. At the same time, Kun Arashi's mental energy was like a heavy punch as it directly sent the people in front of him flying. Bang! 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 The three of them were sent flying by the impact. When they saw Kun Erisher repelling the three of them and breaking the trap so easily, they were shocked. Although it all happened in a flash, Kun Arashi's actions had already made them deeply aware of how powerful he was. Under such circumstances, many people immediately shifted their gazes to other people. 10,000 years was a short period of time, and there was no need to tangle with such an expert. If the other party had some means to delay you, you might miss a good opportunity because of this. It was not worth it at all. Even the veteran who first attacked also turned his attention to the other copper coins and did not continue to tangle with Kun Erisher. The person who could subdue the Remnant Sun Fire was definitely not ordinary. There was no need to doubt his strength. Li Zongjiu looked at Kun Arashi's actions and nodded his head in satisfaction. Although old Mo was old, his skills were not ordinary. He also managed to snatch a copper coin in the first round of competition. The surrounding people did not let down their guard, because the copper coins were constantly flying. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Why aren't you snatching it? It seems like there are almost none left. Old Mo had already returned to his seat, full of confidence. Some of the people who managed to snatch a copper coin naturally hid at the side with extreme vigilance. It was not easy to defeat someone in such a short period of time, so it was more convenient to aim at the ownerless copper coins. Seeing Li Zongjiu's indifference, Li Yun could not help but feel anxious. Even if they might not succeed, they should still fight for it. They had not even started to fight for it. How could they just give up? This was not good behavior. It's still early. The last one will definitely be mine. Li Zongjiu was not in a hurry to snatch the coins from these people. At this moment, a storm was raging within the inn. Many of the tables and chairs had already been burned down. It was obvious that the inn was in a state of chaos. There were even people who were close to each other and directly engaged in hand-to-hand combat. In the inn, the earth shook and the mountains shook unstoppably. There were also people who were seriously injured. Xiao. The last copper coin finally appeared. However, the location where it appeared was extremely coincidental. It happened to be on Li Zongjiu's table. A hidden compartment appeared on the table, and with a light flick, a copper coin appeared. It landed on the table and spun continuously. There were less than 20 breaths of time left before the closing bell sounded. At that time, those who had not obtained a copper coin would definitely be eliminated. Such a fortuitous encounter caused the remaining dozens of people who had not obtained a copper coin to instantly pounce on Li Zongjiu like wolves and tigers. Old Mo did not expect Li Zongjiu's luck to be so good. This copper coin just happened to land in front of Li Zongjiu. In anyone's eyes, this was a heaven-sent opportunity. However, at the same time, there were more than 15 experts who instantly surrounded him. More than 10 flaming snakes directly attacked Li Zongjiu's table. Li Yun and the rest naturally did not dodge. Instead, they wanted to help Li Zongjiu. Otherwise, how could Li Zongjiu withstand the attacks of so many people? However, Li Yun's pill was really too weak. Old Mo's figure retreated slightly. After all, he was the one who obtained the copper coin. If he was accidentally dragged into this mess, it would be too unfair for Old Mo. Therefore, when Old Mo saw that the situation was not good, he immediately withdrew and hid behind the crowd. Moreover, he coldly observed the situation that Li Zongjiu was about to face. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. I want to see what exactly makes you so arrogant. Just as Old Mo was looking forward to Li Zongjiu being ganged up on and completely eliminated, Li Zongjiu suddenly stopped. That would be enough to let Li Zongjiu know what it meant to overestimate one's capabilities. However, the scene that happened next caused Old Mo's eyes to instantly freeze. What? Chapter 798. Li Zongjiu gently waved his hand. The fire serpents that were surging from all directions were immediately blown away by an invisible force. These fire serpents directly rushed towards the rear. Boom! The terrifying power of the fire snakes immediately returned to where they came from. The scene was extremely spectacular. This was because the position where the dozen over fire snakes had turned was coincidentally not far from Li Zongjiu's body. With just a little bit of strength, they would be able to directly burn Li Zongjiu to death. However, the appearance of this scene now was shocking. Even the owner of the fire snake was startled. The flame represented the mastery of these people's control skills. If one was unable to control the flame in one's hand, how would one be able to control this medicinal cauldron that could change in a myriad of ways? However, these people were all genuine grade 4 alchemists. With the fire control ability of a grade 4 alchemist, it was naturally not difficult to control these flames. However, at this moment, in front of Li Zongjiu, these flames became extremely disobedient at this moment. Who? Extinguish. Go back. Damn it, attack. My flames are actually out of control. These alchemists were shocked to find that they could no longer control their flames. They could only watch as the flames directly landed on their bodies with a boom. Boom! The terrifying and overbearing power instantly blasted these people away. These people were originally using their strongest power at this moment, but who would have thought that this power would directly hit their own bodies? Bang! Those alchemists were directly blasted away. Everyone vomited blood, but they were still alive. However, if they wanted to obtain this copper coin, it would not be so easy. He reached out and grabbed the copper coin in his hand. Li Zongjiu was extremely calm as he drank a mouthful of tea. Even if this copper coin was in Li Zongjiu's hands, the remaining people did not dare to attack anymore. Those who had yet to obtain these items exchanged glances with each other. Their eyes were filled with regret. Although it was said that in this copper coin battle, they lost their qualifications, but it did not mean that they did not have a chance. As long as they consumed a grade 6 elixir, they would be able to recover their qualifications and continue to participate in the next round of the competition. As long as you have enough grade 6 elixirs, you will be able to continue in this dark horse pill gathering. In this first round, many people had shown their strength. In the next round, those who exposed their strength prematurely would also be greatly threatened. Many people were also on full alert. Some people were also watching very anxiously. At the same time, they secretly noted in their hearts who was able to take such a lead among these people, and who was the person that they could not afford to offend. Congratulations everyone. Clang. A loud and clear sound of a bell pulled old Mo back from his shock. Not only old Mo, but the surrounding people had also recovered from their extreme shock. After all, Li Zongjiu's previous move was too shocking. To be able to send someone flying so easily, who else could do such a thing? At the same time, everyone had listed Li Zongjiu as a person that they absolutely could not afford to offend. A person appeared on the second floor of the inn. They had seen this person before, but Li Zongjiu probably did not have any impression of him. Wu Qingfeng. Tenfang Medicine Hall's Deputy Hall Master. There was no doubt about the strength of the three major elixir merchants. To be able to gather such a big event, including almost all the high-level alchemists in the Qiyun prefecture, the strength of these people was displayed here. It was almost equivalent to half of the Qiyun prefecture. Moreover, because of the influence of these three major elixir merchants, this influence could spread even further, allowing even more independent alchemists to participate in this black horse pill gathering. Welcome everyone who has come from afar. At the same time, congratulations to those who have qualified. As for this loss in the first round, there is no need to be discouraged. A stock of 6th grade elixir can be added to the next round. Although there was not much to gain from the first round, those who failed to come lost a lot. After painstakingly preparing for a long time, they were directly eliminated. Moreover, although this black horse pill gathering was said to be a gathering of the three major elixir merchants, in reality, the situation and the result would directly affect one's reputation and status in the alchemy world. Such a matter was extremely important to these independent alchemists. As an alchemist, some wealth that was difficult for ordinary people to obtain was basically at their fingertips. Therefore, reputation was extremely important to them. There was no first place in literature, and no second place in martial arts. For this reputation, in addition to the encouragement of these elixirs, the opportunity to double the price of a stock of 6th grade elixir was not something that everyone would easily give up. The second round will be held at the Black Horse Square. Immediately after Wu Qingfeng's voice sounded, the back door of the inn directly opened with a bang. The back door of the Black Horse Inn led directly to the Black Horse Square. At this moment, on the Black Horse Square, dozens of arenas were all prepared. Each arena was separated by an independent yuan inscription array. Moreover, there were also impartial masters waiting on each arena. On the copper coins, there are numbers. For the first time, there are 50 arenas. The first 30 numbers are the arena masters. The remaining 20 arenas are empty. You can enter the arena as you wish and become the arena master to defend the arena. If you successfully defend the arena for 3 rounds, you will be able to obtain a 6th grade elixir exchange voucher provided by the co-organizer of the grand meeting. On the other hand, if you successfully defend the arena for 3 rounds, you will also be able to obtain the same reward. After the crowd below the arena heard the rules, they all became excited. This was because it seemed that there was a very big chance. However, there were a total of 99 people in the arena. Those who were added through other methods were not counted as of now. Everyone came here, and they were not here to watch a show. If that was the case, there was no need to carry out such an action. At this moment, outside the Black Horse Square, there were also many onlookers. It just so happened that they were here to watch. Looking at the scene in front of them, this was Xing Qianqian. Li Zongjiu and the others walked into the arena. It did not matter how they competed, as long as they kept winning. Hee, I am actually number 30. Kuan Erisher looked at the number on the special copper coin in his hand and directly walked to the corresponding arena. Then I will go up first. Kuan Erisher jumped up. If he did not lose, he would give out a stock of 6th grade elixir. If he won, he would get a stock of 6th grade elixir. If he did not lose, then it would depend on his own strength. Moreover, in this arena, the stakes could be increased at any time. Go. Li Zongjiu waved his hand. To say that Li Zongjiu came to such a place, in fact, he did not have much interest in the competition. After all, these people's alchemy skills could be said that Li Zongjiu did not put any of them in his eyes. If you want to talk about alchemy skills, then these people here are all trash. The duration of the competition is 3 days. For every day, the alchemy platform will be reduced by 10. After all, not everyone was able to obtain so many tier 6 spiritual herbs. A day's time was enough for these people to compete. As long as you are on this alchemy platform, it does not matter how you compete. Sometimes, it is fast enough, but sometimes it is an extremely long war of attrition. And this arena lord position, the further you go, the more difficult it is. That kid is the one who offended the 5th brother. In the corner of the arena, there were 2 figures standing. Although they were dressed in a low-key manner, when they fought before, no one could stop their sharpness. At this moment, these 2 people stood here, and the people around them did not dare to come close. It's him. Chapter 799. The 2 of them looked at Li Zongjiu. These 2 people were 2 of the 5 saints of the Crimson Cloud continent. They didn't come here for the 6th grade medicinal herbs. After all, although these 6th grade medicinal herbs were precious, it wasn't difficult to obtain them, especially for a 6th grade alchemist. One of them was a genuine 6th grade alchemist. Among the Crimson Cloud 5 saints, only the boss had broken through the 6th grade alchemist realm. Because of the appearance of the 6th grade alchemist, these people became active. Recently, some of the famous alchemists in the Crimson Cloud Prefecture seemed to have a feeling of surpassing them. Therefore, the Crimson Cloud 5 saints also took this opportunity to make a name for themselves. In the dark, who knew how many pairs of eyes swept across these people, wandering? It was all for the sake of finding weaker people. At the beginning, although these arena masters were already in place, there were still relatively few people who wanted to go up. Li Zongjiu's eyes also swept back and forth across these people. After all, he needed to know who was carrying the drunken life flower among these people. No matter what, he had to get his hands on the flower. 6th grade medicinal herbs. Li Zongjiu didn't want to let it go so easily. Old Black, since you're the arena master, I naturally won't let you go so easily. I'll challenge you. Let's have a fire fight. A figure directly jumped onto the alchemy platform and began to compete with the opponent. The next round of challenges also began in an instant. Some people chose to watch the battle, while others chose to directly jump onto the platform. Old Mo, who came with Li Zongjiu, wasn't in a hurry. What he needed was to stay until the end. It wasn't a good thing to be the first to stand out now. At the same time, old Mo also wanted to see who Li Zongjiu was and what ability he had. Li Yun and Tian Fei both followed by Li Zongjiu's side. The two of them looked around curiously. They had always seen the big competition between alchemists, but they didn't expect that today they would have the opportunity to see a battle between alchemists. Obviously, the competition between alchemists was much more refined. The one in red seems to be very powerful. Li Yun saw a man in red sitting on the fifth arena in front of them. He directly closed his eyes and rested on the spot, adjusting his aura. During this process, the surrounding aura was also constantly flowing, causing a trace of reverence to rise in people's hearts. It seemed that this person's body contained an extremely terrifying killing move, causing people to not dare to approach him. Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. This terrifying guy, why is also here? Before this, no one had recognized this person. However, when they saw the appearance of the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, they were all shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes. It was said that in order to subdue a primordial fire demon, this person had almost exhausted all methods. He had even reached a state of chi deviation. Later on, when this guy entered a state of chi deviation, he also killed many people. Now that he was sitting here, who knew if this guy was a lunatic? They were only here to participate in the alchemy competition. If there was any danger to their lives, it wouldn't be worth it. It was better to be safe and not fight with this lunatic first. I heard that this guy seems to have brought the drunken dream flower with him. In order to refine this primordial fire, this guy also rushed directly to that place, but in the end, he also directly went crazy. It had to be said that some alchemists were really talkative. Just a small matter, and they would talk about it everywhere. Since Li Zongjiu heard it, he naturally wanted to join in the fun. I'll go and see if this guy has any flowers. Li Zongjiu said. As soon as his voice fell, his figure leaped and landed on the stage. In the arena of the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, someone came up so quickly. This caused the people below the stage to be shocked. When they saw that Li Zongjiu was the person who had displayed his invincible might in the inn just now, all of them began to pay attention to him. Just what was the background of this Li Zongjiu? He actually had such terrifying strength, and now he directly challenged the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. This wasn't a simple matter. It wouldn't be easy to deal with this guy. Good boy, you really don't know life from death. Seeing that Li Zongjiu actually took the initiative to provoke the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, old Mo's eyes suddenly turned cold. So what if you are a genius? With the strength of the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, it would be easy for it to defeat this Li Zongjiu or even cripple him. There were clearly so many people, but you just had to provoke such a dangerous person. Therefore, in old Mo's eyes, Li Zongjiu was a dead man. If you want to court death, then what are you if not a dead man? This kid actually went to challenge the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, he really doesn't want to live anymore. Damn, he's fierce. I saw this kid's performance before, he's also a ruthless person. He's really powerful. I want to see how exciting it will be. Even the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon didn't expect that someone would actually dare to challenge it so quickly. With such an imposing aura, could it be possible that he would meet a worthy opponent? Therefore, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon opened its eyes in disdain, sizing up Li Zongjiu. How can we compete? The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon said indifferently. Its meaning was as if it was waiting for Li Zongjiu to speak, giving the initiative to Li Zongjiu. This was obviously a kind of contempt towards Li Zongjiu, it was really arrogant. Whatever, let's have a fire battle. Li Zongjiu said. For alchemists, a fire battle was a competition of the strength of the flame and the ability to control the flame. In terms of time, the outcome of the battle would naturally be decided more quickly. However, the danger was naturally higher because if it was a flame, it might just injure you directly. When the onlookers heard that Li Zongjiu actually chose to have a fire battle with the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, they couldn't help but shake their heads. One by one, they couldn't help but shake their heads. Obviously, this Li Zongjio came here to court death. What was the difference between this and jumping off a cliff? They really couldn't find any difference. However, there's no meaning in betting on a 6th-grade medicinal herb. Do you dare to bet everything? Li Zongjio continued. Bet everything. That would be cutting off the other party's path of retreat. It would be a battle to the death. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's eyes also changed. Looking at Li Zongjio's young and tender face, the corners of its mouth couldn't help but curl up. I have 10 6th-grade medicinal herbs. How many do you want to bet? 10 6th-grade medicinal herbs. Obviously, this Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon came prepared. He wanted to stand out in this dark horse pill assembly. He even wanted to make a huge profit. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon had revealed his trump card. This was also telling Li Zongjio that he had 10 tier 6 spiritual herbs in his hands. How many did Li Zongjio have? Seeing such a scene, the others also wanted to know if Li Zongjio had that much strength. Okay, 10 then. Li Zongjio said. Then, he directly threw a storage ring into the hands of the notary. The notary lightly scanned it and was shocked by the things inside. 10 6th-grade medicinal herbs, no mistake. These notaries were all senior appraisers invited by the 3 major herbal medicine merchants. Therefore, even if you wanted to use fake and inferior medicinal herbs to make up the numbers, it was basically impossible. As for the appraisers, the amount of medicinal herbs they had seen and touched was even more than the total amount of the alchemists. After all, the amount of medicinal herbs they dealt with every day was too much. The amount of medicinal herbs was too much to count. Everyone exclaimed again. They didn't expect this young man to be able to take out 10 6th-grade medicinal herbs. It was such a fierce competition right from the start, and it immediately made the people around them perk up. At the same time, many people began to envy the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. This fire demon's luck is really good. He met such a big fish the moment he came. That's right. Even if he left after this competition, he would have doubled his assets. Why can't I meet such a fool? Chapter 800. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon was naturally happy in his heart. Similarly, he threw the storage ring that contained the herbs to the notary. The notary took the storage ring in his hand and swept his gaze over it. After seeing the items within, he nodded towards Li Zongjio. The quantity is correct. 10 stalks of 6th-grade herbs. The notary said. It was hard to believe that such a ferocious battle was taking place right from the start. Since the notary said that there was no problem, then there was definitely no problem. With 3 herb merchants backing him, how could he be afraid of not having enough herbs? Li Zongjio wasn't in a hurry to ask if there was the drunken dream flower inside. Instead, he looked at the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon and waved his hand. Make your move. Li Zongjio's words were simply arrogant to the extreme. He didn't choose to challenge the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon in alchemy, but he arrogantly chose to fight with fire. Not only that, he even took out all the herbs he had on him. How stupid must this child be to do such a thing? Now, Li Zongjio was still so arrogant. He recklessly let the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon make the first move. It was simply like jumping down from a bottomless abyss. At the same time, he was carrying a huge rock on his back, as if he was afraid that he wouldn't die from the fall. Demonic Wolf Fire. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon wasn't a gentleman. To be called a demon, it was naturally because he had done many crazy things. At this moment, there was a terrifying energy condensing in his hands. Boom! It was as if a green fire wolf was condensing in the center of his palm. Following the movement of the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's hand, he suddenly waved it and threw the fire wolf out. Roar! The fire wolf was vivid and lifelike. Its speed was astonishing, and its power was swift and fierce. Even with the shielding Yuan Runa Ray, Li Yun and Li Zongjiu could feel a wave of heat. At this moment, facing the fire wolf, Li Zongjiu was bound to suffer the attack of the flames. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's control over flames has actually reached such a level. When some people saw this scene, they were clearly deeply shocked. As expected of the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon, his attack this time around had already displayed an extremely extraordinary stance. Ordinary alchemists could at most condense their flames into the shape of a long whip. The power of the flame itself was still in their hands and could not be directly controlled by their body. As for this fire wolf, it directly broke away from the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's hand. Like an independent spirit, it directly rushed towards Li Zongjiu. Boom! The ferocious green fire wolf charged directly at Li Zongjiu. Li Zongjiu just stood there, as if he had been scared silly by the scene in front of him. Humph, it's not that simple. Since Li Zongjiu wanted to fight, then naturally, he would let Li Zongjiu enjoy himself. Since you gave me a grade 6 stone pearl medicinal ingredient, then I'll let you die even more happily and heroically. Split. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's hands moved and instantly separated between his palms. The fire wolf that was rushing forward instantly split into 3. When it had rushed in front of Li Zongjiu, it had clearly only been one fire wolf. However, in an instant, it had split into 3 fire wolves and rushed towards Li Zongjiu from 3 different directions. Be careful. Li Yun couldn't help but shout when she felt the sudden increase in power of the flames. It seemed that Li Zongjiu's opponent was an extremely powerful person. When Li Zongjiu faced his opponent's move, it seemed as if he was completely scared silly. He didn't even know how to counterattack. Old Mo's eyes were also firmly staring at Li Zongjiu. Clearly, Old Mo was also looking forward to the scene in his heart. However, the scene that everyone was looking forward to did not appear. They saw Li Zongjiu directly flicking his finger. With just 3 flaming lights, the fire wolves in front of him were defeated one after another. Boom! 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 An intense fluctuation swept out. Many people didn't even see how Li Zongjiu made his move, but they could already hear the sound of the fire wolves shattering. Go! In Li Zongjiu's hand, there seemed to be an additional flame whip. As Li Zongjiu swung it with all his strength, the flame whip directly swept towards the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. Boom! The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon rubbed his hands together and a flame sword appeared in his hand. Facing Li Zongjiu's flame whip, a cold light emerged in his eyes. Break for me! When he saw Li Zongjiu easily destroying the fire wolves, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon already knew that the situation wasn't good. With the strength of the youth before him, he was afraid that it wouldn't be easy to deal with him. When the sword slashed out, a flame storm instantly swept up in the surroundings. One had to admit that the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's ability to control flames had already reached an extremely grand realm. The flame storm trapped Li Zongjiu within. The power that had gathered in the surroundings seemed to have formed a terrifying furnace. However, the flame whip in Li Zongjiu's hand had already coiled around the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's body. At this very moment, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon was startled when he saw the flame whip coiling around his waist. Immediately, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon wanted to remove the flame whip. However, he discovered that the flame wasn't an ordinary flame. At this moment, it had actually seeped into the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's body. Not good. Immediately, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon roared and circulated his Yuan power, wanting to expel the flame from his body. However, it was already too late. Whoosh! In the next moment, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's body was ignited by the flame. When the flame started to burn from within his body, he would no longer have the slightest chance. No! The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon roared. Even the surrounding firestorm had obscured the vision of the surrounding people, making it difficult for them to clearly see what was happening within. However, when they heard the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon's roar, they immediately understood that the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon had fallen into a disadvantageous position. The surrounding flames were gradually dispelled. Then, a figure appeared in everyone's line of sight. How is this possible? Looking at Li Zongjiu, who was still standing at the same spot, everyone looked at him with an extremely shocked gaze. In front of Li Zongjiu, a storage ring fell from a pile of black ashes. When the pile of ashes appeared in front of them, these people clearly understood a fact. That was, Li Zongjiu had directly killed the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. Furthermore, he had used the most brutal method to do so. When such a terrifying flame energy was displayed, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon did not have the slightest chance. The people outside did not even see it clearly. Only the notary on the scene could see everything clearly. Because of the close distance and the fact that the notary's strength was not weak, he was able to see the process of Li Zongjiu killing the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon in front of him. The entire process was extremely simple. It could even be said that there were no unnecessary complications. It was like using a chopper to chop wood. Raising the hand and chopping the blade down, it was natural. It was that simple. Give me his medicinal ingredients. Li Zongjiu directly said. Even though he was the notary, he was still unable to react. However, after he reacted, he quickly handed over the medicinal ingredients in his hand. As expected of Li Zongjiu, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's honorary elder, Wu Qingfeng and the rest looked at Li Zongjiu's arena. They were not surprised by the battle strength that Li Zongjiu had displayed. It was precisely this kind of strength that allowed Li Zongjiu to become the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's honorary elder. Since the people in front of them were just rogue cultivators, they would not pay much attention to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's honorary elder. Furthermore, Li Zongjiu's appearance was not impressive. He did not even have any extravagance and did not look very noble. Therefore, they naturally did not think that Li Zongjiu was the honorary elder. After all, this young man had become the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's honorary elder. Such a matter was inconceivable. If he stood in front of you, how would you dare to believe it? Chapter 801. It was because of this kind of disbelief that they had when they met Li Zongjiu. Their ending was extremely tragic. The Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon is dead. The onlookers could not believe their eyes. They were even trying their best to search for the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon in the surroundings. They wanted to see if the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon was hiding somewhere. Clearly, they were thinking too much. There was no chance for them to find the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon. 10 6th-grade elixirs in hand. This made everyone jealous. This was just the beginning. It was very easy to get such an opportunity. This Dark Horse Alchemy gathering was actually a huge gamble. However, the one who gambled was the alchemist and the stakes were the 6th-grade elixirs in hand. Using the 6th-grade elixirs as a stake, it might only be a small amount at the beginning. However, as the numbers accumulated, people's eyes would slowly turn red. This kid. Seeing Li Zongjiu easily obtain 10 6th-grade elixirs, the onlookers could not help themselves. Many people were unable to hold themselves back and began to make their moves. They wanted to be like Li Zongjiu, to find a suitable opponent, and use the same method to acquire the 6th-grade elixir. This is too fucking awesome. I'll go to the arena. If you don't even dare to go to the arena, what's the point of coming here? The people who came to the Dark Horse Elixir meeting were all hoping to get a great harvest in the end, or they hoped to make a name for themselves. Since everyone had their own plans, they would naturally take the initiative to move forward. The entire Dark Horse Square was bustling with noise and excitement. However, no one dared to go to the arena where Li Zongjiu was. Everyone intentionally or unintentionally avoided Li Zongjiu. In another arena, another person was directly defeated. However, this person had spoken rudely to his opponent. Thus, he was directly set on fire by his opponent and burned to death. The flame was like a lingering ghost that was constantly rolling back and forth on the body of the person who was being burned. Ah! I beg you, kill me quickly. The flame burned the person in an orderly manner. As for the person standing on the stage, he was just watching coldly from the sidelines. When the crowd saw this person, they immediately went into an uproar. Isn't that the Qianquan Pill Saint? Qianquan Pill Saint. It is said that the Qianquan sacred flame used by the Qianquan Pill Saint is extremely powerful. Once touched by the Qianquan sacred flame, one's flesh and bones will be separated and burned to death. When the ability of the Qianquan Pill Saint was mentioned, everyone was extremely shocked. Moreover, the Qianquan Pill Saint was the leader of the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints. The Qianquan Pill Saint. How dare you call yourself the heavenly sacred flame with such a crooked method? Are you stupid? Li Zongjiu looked at the arrogant look on the heaven and earth Pill Saint's face and felt very unhappy looking at him. Others didn't know about the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints, but how could Li Zongjiu not know? Although the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints didn't have any enmity with him in his previous life, this group of people was really too hypocritical because he didn't know where they got a set of Yuan formula. The magical thing about this Yuan formula was that it could create one's own Yuan fire. The strength of the primordial fire was related to the method used to refine it. Through different formulas and the cultivation of this Yuan formula, the power of the Yuan fire could be obtained. However, the flame cultivated in this way was only some extremely inferior power. Before the 6th grade alchemist, the Origin Emperor realm, they could flaunt their prowess a little. In the early stage, they indeed had enough strength. However, the further they got, the more the effect would gradually decline, and the decline would be very fast. Some drawbacks would also appear. They would even be far inferior to ordinary alchemists. Moreover, these people's Yuan formula was originally snatched from a family. Until now, the people of these families were also chasing after the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints. Both sides had also gone through a competition. When the Crimson Cloud 5 Saints obtained this set of elemental arts, they directly hid in the depths of the mountains and forests. That was how they cultivated to their current level. Very few people knew the whole story behind it. Li Zongjiu happened to be one of them. Therefore, he was also extremely dissatisfied with the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints. The Qianquan Pill Saint looked around arrogantly. Finally, his gaze fell on Li Zongjiu. There was also a hint of provocation in his eyes. It seemed to be saying that sooner or later, I, the Qianquan Pill Saint, will definitely defeat you and trample you under my feet. Li Zongjiu also happened to see the Qianquan Pill Saint's gaze. He couldn't bear it anymore. He directly jumped down from the arena and walked towards the Qianquan Pill Saint. This was because the Qianquan Pill Saint had already attracted the attention of many people. At this moment, when they suddenly saw Li Zongjiu's actions, everyone was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that another good show was about to play out. However, the face of the notary in the pill assembly changed. This was because they didn't expect such a situation. Why did Li Zongjiu directly jump down? As the arena master, of course, he couldn't easily leave his own arena. Otherwise, how could he attack the arena? Therefore, the notary also quickly jumped down from the arena and came to Li Zongjiu's side. It wasn't easy for him to pull Li Zongjiu down. Wait. Elderly, this pill assembly has a rule that the arena master can't leave the arena without permission. Please go back quickly, the notary pulled Li Zongjiu and hurriedly advised. The Qianquan Pill Saint also did not expect this Li Zongjiu to directly walk over because of his gaze. What did this guy mean? Wasn't he too arrogant? Even if he had the strength, it was impossible for him to be so willful. Did he have the confidence to defeat him? The Qianquan Pill Saint's gaze was incomparably calm. When he saw Li Zongjiu walking over, he even had the feeling of retreating. Fortunately, the notary directly stopped Li Zongjiu. Otherwise, if this Li Zongjiu directly jumped up, who knew what would happen? Fuck, what's wrong with this brat? He's actually so fierce. He hadn't even said anything, but this brat already wanted to come up and fight with him. His temper was actually so fiery. What are you doing? He looks very fierce. Hurry up and return to your arena. Li Yun also stepped forward to persuade him. At the same time, she pulled Li Zongjiu back. He dared to stare at me just now. Li Zongjiu said. At this moment, if it wasn't for Li Yun stopping him, Li Zongjiu would have definitely stepped forward to take care of this guy. So what if I stare at you? Do you have to go up and beat him to death? Sigh, why are you so grumpy? Li Yun put her hands on her hips and put on the posture of an elder sister. This was something that Li Yun should do. Although her strength was not as good as Li Zongjiu's, if Li Zongjiu continued to be like this, something would happen sooner or later. No matter how great your ability is, you can't withstand your temper. After being scolded by Li Yun, Li Zongjiu's face was naturally filled with helplessness. Then, he obediently walked back and stood on his arena. However, with Li Zongjiu's current state, it was certain that no one would dare to come up and provoke him. Everyone could see that Li Zongjiu was in a very bad mood. If he challenged Li Zongjiu now, wouldn't he be making things difficult for himself? So, he chose to challenge other places first. The arena masters were constantly changing. The rest of the people also wanted to maintain this continuous victory, but it was extremely difficult. Congratulations to Kun Erisher from Kun Castle for successfully defending the arena for 3 rounds. He has received a 6th grade medicinal ingredient exchange voucher. Chapter 802. Someone was announcing the battle situation from the side. What the Dark Horse Elixir Assembly needed the most was such a dark horse. Kun Erisher actually took the lead to become the first person to win 3 rounds in a row in this Dark Horse Elixir Assembly. Defending the arena for 3 rounds and defeating all the challengers one after another. There was no doubt about this kind of strength. The Radiance also instantly blessed Kun Erisher. However, after this series of battles, Kun Arashi's condition also suffered a lot of twists and turns. Under this difficult battle, Kun Erisher also persevered, so now Kun Erisher also got a chance to rest. The rest of the people were also tricked by Kun Erisher at the beginning. It seemed that Kun Erisher defeated the enemy by a narrow margin every time, which made the rest of the people misjudge Kun Arashi's strength. Although they knew that Kun Erisher must have a trump card, they didn't expect that Kun Erisher was actually so strong. He had persisted until the end and still hadn't reached his limit. Congratulations to the Heaven and Earth Elixir Saint from the Qiyun State for successfully defending the arena for 3 rounds. You have obtained a 6th grade elixir exchange voucher. Defending the arena for 3 rounds was a hurdle. Many people wanted to cross this hurdle, but they didn't succeed. There were only a few people who succeeded. Those who succeeded in obtaining this honor could directly rest today and pass this round. After all, they had to go up the arena at least once. After going up, if they wanted to come down, they would either be beaten down by others or obtain 3 consecutive victories and then come down smoothly. The Heaven and Earth Elixir Saint's eyes stared in the direction of Li Zongjiu, revealing a trace of provocation. It seemed that he was mocking Li Zongjiu, and at the same time, he seemed to be showing off his strength. Li Zongjiu just looked at the Heaven and Earth Elixir Saint indifferently. Hey, you old fox, do you dare to come up and fight with me? Li Zongjiu looked at the Heaven and Earth Dan Saint's provocative gaze and felt a wave of displeasure. Right now, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Even if this scene couldn't continue, he would definitely jump down and kill this Qiankuan Pill Saint. Old fox, even in his dreams, Qiankuan Dan Saint never thought that this word would actually appear on his body. There was simply no one else like him. Some people could not help but laugh out loud when they heard this. However, the Qinkuan Pill Saint was currently in a free state. If he caught you and beat you up, he would definitely beat you into a retard. Naturally, they did not dare to laugh on the surface. Everyone's eyes were on the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint. Even if the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint wanted to pretend not to hear, it was very difficult. In the face of Li Zongjiu's provocation, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint clenched his fists at this moment. He couldn't wait to rush up and punch Li Zongjiu's head. However, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint forcefully endured it. Humph, why should I be entangled with an arrogant person like you? The Heaven and Earth Pill Saint said indifferently. So what if I let you live for 2 more days? Originally, Li Yun felt that Li Zongjiu was taking the initiative to provoke others again. This kind of behavior was very wrong. However, after hearing that the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was so arrogant and even dared to directly insult Li Zongjiu, no matter what, Li Zongjiu was still a member of the Li family. You old man, what are you talking about? You can't kill a member of my Li family if you want to. Li Yun shouted at the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint. Her expression was also very similar to an angry tiger. Under this clamor, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was also furious. He was a dignified 6th-grade alchemist. At this moment, he was actually bullied by 2 young people. How could this be? If he continued to endure it, then the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint wouldn't need to stay in the alchemy world in the future. Very well, since you want to die today, then I will fulfill your wish. The Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was so angry that he laughed. He immediately leaped up and rushed to the arena where Li Zongjiu was. Today, I want you to know who the world of alchemy in the Qiyun prefecture belongs to. How dare you be so impudent in front of me? At this moment, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was obviously very domineering. Most of the people around him were also from the Qiyun prefecture. When they heard that the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was actually so powerful and was facing Li Zongjiu head-on, it gave people an extremely satisfying feeling. The most important thing was that Li Zongjiu was here, and the powerful stance that he had displayed earlier gave people a feeling that he was extremely difficult to deal with. Now that the Heaven and Earth Dan Saint dared to directly face the difficulty, it gave the surrounding people the feeling that the Heaven and Earth Dan Saint was fighting for the glory of the Qiyun prefecture. Zongjiu, don't give me face. Just cripple him and let him know the power of our Li family. Li Yun said directly. He also expressed his confidence in Li Zongjiu. By now, Li Yun finally understood that with Li Zongjiu's strength, there was no one that Li Zongjiu couldn't handle. In any case, until now, he had never seen anyone like that. As long as he left everything to Li Zongjiu, it would be fine. Li Zongjiu naturally didn't have any objections to Li Yun's words. Stinking girl, wait until I cripple this arrogant brat. I'll definitely let you have a taste of my power. The Heaven and Earth Pill Saint directly said to Li Yun fiercely. His eyes were filled with the desire to cripple Li Yun right now. Old thing, be careful with your words. I'll burn your tongue in a while. Li Zongjiu said indifferently. Since the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was already standing on the stage, he was already prepared to fight with Li Zongjiu. Therefore, he did not continue to argue with Li Zongjiu over the power of words. He pointed at the notary. I want to challenge this person. 5 6th-grade spiritual medicines. The way of the battle is to refine the iron origin root. The Heaven and Earth Pill Saint said. 5 6th-grade spiritual medicines. Relatively speaking, these 5 6th-grade spiritual medicines were definitely a huge gamble. If this battle was to end, it would definitely not be simple. Obviously, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint was still a little conservative. After all, this was just the beginning. There were still many 6th-grade spiritual medicines waiting for him to harvest. Even if he was really confident, he would definitely have to stabilize himself first. He wouldn't just blindly charge out. That was just the way of a reckless man. Such behavior, in the eyes of others, would be very childish. If he can win, I'll give him all the 6th grade spiritual medicines on me. Li Zongjiu said directly. The Heaven and Earth Pill Saint's eyes lit up. This was a good opportunity. Young people really couldn't stand being stimulated. With just 5 spiritual medicines, he could win at least 26th grade spiritual medicines. This was definitely a good deal. Immediately, the Heaven and Earth Pill Saint revealed an evil smile. Deal. Chapter 803. Li Zongjiu did not know what this guy was laughing at. However, it was a good thing to be able to face this setback with such a natural attitude. Since you like to laugh, you might as well laugh more. The day was coming to an end. Most of the people had gone through a round of elimination. Some people had lost completely and entered a state of bankruptcy. Everyone stopped what they were doing to watch the fierce battle between the two giants. Previously, Li Zongjiu had already defeated an expert from the Qiyun prefecture. At this moment, he was facing one of the 5 saints of the Qiyun prefecture, the Qiankuan Pill Saint. In the eyes of the crowd, this Li Zongjiu was also an extremely powerful person. Otherwise, he would have died long ago. The way the two of them were competing was suggested by the Qiankuan Pill Saint, which was to refine the iron elemental root. The iron elemental root was not unfamiliar among the alchemists. It could even be said that they were very familiar with it. Many newbies needed to learn how to use the iron elemental root to strengthen the foundation. This was a compulsory course for alchemists when they entered the sect. This was because the iron elemental root had a very low sensitivity to the fire attribute. Although the iron elemental root was not very hard, it could be easily broken by hand. However, if one wanted to use fire to refine it, it would require a lot of power. If one wanted to cultivate the power of fire, one must release all the power in one's body. Only in this way could one continuously refine the fire in one's body, allowing one to better control the power of fire. Therefore, almost every alchemist had an iron elemental root. The iron elemental root itself was the root of the iron elemental tree. Soon, the organizer of the Dark Horse Pill Convocation also prepared the iron elemental root. The 2 iron elemental roots had the same weight. The difficulty of refining them was also the same. These 2 iron elemental roots are the same. You and I will compete to see who can refine the iron elemental root into iron elemental liquid in the shortest time. When the iron elemental root melted, it would become iron elemental liquid. The iron elemental liquid's scalding temperature was even higher than the magma in the volcano. Moreover, it had to be carried by a special object. Ordinary objects could not withstand the temperature of the iron elemental liquid. Okay. Li Zongjiu did not say anything and directly made a decision. The Qiankuan Pill Saint was once again pleased with himself. If it was some other competition, then he might not have such a chance of winning. However, refining this iron origin root in the competition was already as easy as flipping his hand for this Qiankuan Dan Saint. This was because his flames were also born from this iron origin root. To other people, the iron origin root was like a boulder that could not be refined, but to Qiankuan Dan Saint, it was simply a common occurrence. That Heaven and Earth Dan Saint's cultivation has most likely already stepped into the ranks of grade 6 pills. Otherwise, these people would not have acted so easily. There was a cold glint in Elder Mo's eyes as he sized up the people around him. So far, Old Mo still hadn't found the expert that 10 Directions Medicine Hall had invited. He didn't even know the name list until now. At this moment, those people were also hiding in the crowd, concealing their own strength. Therefore, Old Mo was also very nervous and incomparably vigilant. If the 10 Directions Medicine Hall was compared to the 10 Directions Medicine Hall, then the strength of the 10 Directions Medicine Hall was not much different from the 100 Medicine Hall. The expert invited by the other party was certainly not weak. It was all for the following competition. After all, the ranking between them would affect the competition of interests between the 3 great herb merchants. To actually compete in refining the iron origin root, this is really boring. Li Yun said with a frown. What kind of situation was this? She actually wanted to see two experts refining the iron origin root here. Everyone also heard the rules of the competition. They wanted to see who could refine the iron origin root in the shortest time. Moreover, the refined iron origin liquid had to be compared to see who was more thorough. Even the iron origin liquid had different degrees of refinement. Ordinary refinement would appear white. If it was refined thoroughly, it would appear translucent. But if it was completely refined, it would become transparent. In the market, this transparent iron origin liquid was very rare. White iron origin liquid, on the other hand, was very abundant. It was a very good material to refine this kind of weapon. However, transparent iron origin liquid was very rare. Even if it was the flame of a 6th-grade alchemist, it was extremely difficult to refine this transparent iron origin liquid. He picked up the iron origin root in his hand. The Qianquan Pill Saint had already begun to show off his strength. The Qianquan sacred flame appeared in his palms. The iron origin root was also gently rotating in the flame between his palms. Through this method, the temperature was also roasting the iron elemental root. It could be seen that the iron elemental root had already turned from a black tree root to a scarlet color. On the contrary, looking at Li Zongjiu, he didn't seem to be in a hurry. It seemed that he was looking for something in his storage ring. I've seen a 5th-grade alchemist refine this iron origin root before. It seems that it took him 12 hours to refine this iron origin root into white iron origin liquid. With my strength, it would take at least 24 hours to refine this iron origin root. The Qianquan Pill Saint's flame seemed to have a strong restraining effect on this iron origin root. It actually burned this iron origin root until it turned red so quickly. According to my estimation, I will definitely be able to refine it completely in less than 4 hours. The Qianquan Pill Saint seemed to have heard the discussion of the people below. Immediately, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. In that case, I will show my strength and let these people know today to broaden their horizons. Qianquan Sacred Flame, sacrifice the universe. The flame between his palms suddenly spread out. Even if the scene was seen by outsiders, it was enough to see that the world between the Qianquan Pill Saint's palms was flying up and down, as if it was constantly boiling. This time, the spinning world was also directly in the hands of the Qianquan Pill Saint. 6th-grade alchemist. This Qianquan Pill Saint has indeed broken through the 6th-grade realm. 6th-grade alchemist, he really is a 6th-grade alchemist. The appearance of a 6th-grade alchemist was almost like the appearance of a wolf king in a pack of wolves. Everyone had no choice but to be convinced by the strength of this 6th-grade alchemist. Even if you were at the peak of the 5th grade, you would not be a match for this 6th-grade alchemist. He only needed a finger to easily defeat you. This was the strength of a 6th-grade alchemist. It was different in that realm. This is troublesome. This guy is actually a 6th-grade alchemist. Kuan Erisher came to the front of the arena. Looking at the strength displayed by the other party, he could not help but frown. What? That old man is a 6th-grade alchemist. Li Yun did not believe these words when she heard them. However, when she heard Kuan Erisher say this, she was immediately shocked. 6th-grade alchemist. Wasn't that an existence like a legend? Although Boss is also a 6th-grade alchemist, but under the situation of the same level, it is very difficult to crush the other party. Kuan Erisher said in a dignified tone. These words made Li Yun's heart even more uneasy. Chapter 804. On the field, Li Zongjiu had been looking for something for a long time. When Li Zongjiu's face showed an expression of finding something, the Qianquan Pill Saint on the opposite side had already refined nearly 1/10 of the iron elemental root in his hand. When the Qianquan Pill Saint looked at Li Zongjiu on the opposite side, there was also a hint of ridicule in his eyes. He would let Li Zongjiu know how powerful he was. If he wanted to be an enemy of the Qiankuan Pill Saint, then he was not qualified yet. I finally found it. Li Zongjiu breathed a sigh of relief. After all, this thing was rare. Although it was not very precious, it was not something that could be found easily. Desolate grass. Kuan Erisher saw Li Zongjiu take out the desolate grass. Suddenly, he frowned. He did not know why Li Zongjiu took out the desolate grass. Although this thing was powerful, very few people could understand how to use it. Even old Mo's eyes had a hint of ridicule. They even thought that Li Zongjiu was just trying to please the crowd. Li Zongjiu was almost done, but he still hadn't started yet. Could it be that he was going to catch up now? The Qiankuan Pill Saint was also a 6th grade alchemist. If he wanted to catch up, it would not be an easy task. Boom! Li Zongjiu's palms were also jumping with flames, and this flame also directly formed a medicinal cauldron. With the appearance of this fire cauldron, everyone was also amazed by Li Zongjiu's strength. There was really nothing to say about his control of this flame. The formation of a medicinal cauldron itself was about integrating into one, and the Tao was naturally formed. That was why this fire cauldron could have an effect. Otherwise, it would be useless if you only cultivated the shape of the latter without any consciousness inside. What is he going to do? Wu Qingfeng and the others were also watching the battle between the two peak powers. With the identity of both of them, they were both 6th grade alchemists, so in this Dark Horse Pill assembly, it was definitely a peak confrontation. But who knew that this confrontation would actually start in advance? Even Wu Qingfeng did not know what Li Zongjiu was going to do. Wu Qingfeng originally thought that Li Zongjiu had broken through the realm of the 6th grade alchemist, but that was only because Li Zongjiu's talent was good, and even reached an extremely amazing level. However, in terms of experience, it was impossible to be perfect. However, when they saw Li Zongjiu's move, they were unable to understand it. They really realized that Li might have other means. Li Zongjiu directly extracted a wisp of desolate energy from the desolate grass. Then, using this desolate energy as a fire guide, he directly integrated this energy into the iron elemental root. Immediately, people could see that the iron elemental root had begun to gradually peel off. The iron elemental root, which did not have the slightest change under the flame, actually showed a trace of spontaneous combustion. From this moment on, people could see that the iron elemental root was constantly being corroded by the desolate energy. With the injection of the flame, people could also see that the iron elemental root was being smelted by the iron elemental liquid. Li Zongjiu caught the iron elemental liquid with a ball of flame. Without the help of other things, the iron elemental liquid was very easy to cool down. Therefore, the iron elemental liquid needed to be protected by the flame. However, when the iron elemental liquid appeared in Li Zongjiu's hand, the people below seemed to have their mouths wide open, and their eyes were wide open. Fuck, this is transparent iron elemental liquid. Kuan Erisher was the first to exclaim. His expression was very exaggerated, and he could not believe that it could be done to this extent. Transparent iron elemental liquid, this was an extremely precious existence in the market. There were even some blacksmiths who liked this iron elemental liquid the most. A good iron elemental liquid could even increase the power of their weapons by another 3 times. Therefore, this transparent iron elemental liquid was very difficult to find. High-level alchemists had the ability to do this, but they would not waste time and energy to do this kind of thing. Impossible. When the Qiankuan Pill Saint saw the iron elemental liquid in Li Zongjiu's hand, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Li Zongjiu obviously dawdled for half a day before starting to refine. How could he be faster than him? Soon, the iron elemental root in Li Zongjiu's hand was easily refined, and all of it turned into the transparent iron elemental liquid, which appeared in a flowing flame bottle in Li Zongjiu's hand. The flame bottle was constantly rolling with a flame storm, which maintained the iron elemental liquid's original state. How long will he take? Do I have to continue waiting for him? Li Zongjiu retracted his hand, and the flame bottle automatically floated in front of Li Zongjiu. The power displayed by the bottle made everyone gasp in amazement. He finished refining so quickly. It didn't take more than 10 minutes. Almost as soon as the great desolation power poured into the iron elemental root, the refining process was completed. In the eyes of these people, it was simply unbelievable. This is impossible, you cheated. The Qiankuan pill saint immediately pointed at Li Zongjiu and said. Until now, he had only refined a third of it. He still needed a lot of time before he could completely refine it. However, Li Zongjiu had started later than him. In such a short period of time, he had already refined this extremely difficult to refine origin iron root. Are you an idiot? Do I need to cheat? Li Zongjiu looked at the Qiankuan pill saint and said indifferently. You broke the rules and used the medicinal herbs to refine the iron elemental root, not completely refining it. The Qiankuan pill saint remembered what medicinal herbs Li Zongjiu had used, which was why he was able to refine the iron elemental root so quickly. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, how could he compare to him? There's such a rule. Li Zongjiu was immediately surprised as he looked at the Qiankuan pill saint. The Qiankuan pill saint seemed to have grasped Li Zongjiu's weakness. I dare to conclude that the iron elemental liquid in this child's hand is definitely just an illusion, and not the real iron elemental liquid. The Qiankuan pill saint seemed to have exposed Li Zongjiu's conspiracy, and the more he spoke, the more excited he became. This was because the method used by Li Zongjiu was almost unheard of, and no one had ever seen it before. Therefore, the iron elemental liquid in his hand must only have this shape, but in reality, it did not have the effect of the iron elemental liquid here. Then give it a try. As soon as Li Zongjiu's voice fell, he directly stretched out his hand and waved it, throwing out the fire bottle in his hand. The transparent iron elemental liquid whistled out of the fire bottle and directly rushed towards the Qiankuan pill saint. What? The Qiankuan pill saint was shocked. Chapter 805. Along with the terrifying fluctuation, the Saint Pill Saint elixir roared. He immediately felt the extremely ferocious power within it. This was the newly refined iron origin liquid. Once this iron yuan liquid came into contact with one's body, it would definitely burn the person to ashes. The power of this iron yuan liquid was even more terrifying than the flames of a grade 6 alchemist. However, there was not much time left for the Qiankuan pill saint. Immediately, he saw the terrifying power coming towards him. Boom! The Qiankuan pill saint also did not hesitate to unleash his aura. At the same time, the Qiankuan sacred flame in his hand turned into a flame curtain, blocking in front of him like a terrifying waterfall. The iron origin liquid that Li Zongjiu threw out also had an extremely terrifying penetrating power. It easily broke through. The iron origin liquid easily pierced through the Qiankuan sacred flame. At this moment, the Qiankuan pill saint also understood that the iron origin liquid refined by Li Zongjiu was absolutely genuine. Otherwise, how could it easily break through his Qiankuan sacred flame? Not good. In the eyes of the Qiankuan pill saint, the iron origin liquid in front of him seemed to have grown eyes. It directly spun in a circle and swept towards the back of the Qiankuan pill saint. The Qiankuan pill saint was in his own fire circle, constantly trembling with this power. Go for me. The Qiankuan pill saint's hands suddenly pushed forward. The Qiankuan sacred flame formed a powerful flame wall. However, this power had no effect in front of Li Zongjiu's iron origin liquid. Qi! An extremely terrifying temperature was released, and immediately, the sacred flame wall in front of him was directly destroyed. No! Looking at the iron yuan liquid splashing on his body, the Qiankuan pill saint immediately screamed. The pain and fear he felt at this moment was the clearest thing he had ever felt in his life. The flame curtain dispersed. Everyone saw an extremely horrifying scene. They saw that half of the Qiankuan Pill Saint's body had already turned into white bones, and the bones were also being corroded by the flame. Although the Qiankuan Pill Saint did not have time to die, there was no chance for him to recover. Qiankuan Pill Saint, who only had one leg left, finally fell to the ground helplessly and was directly corroded by the iron origin liquid. Even the storage ring was melted by the Qiankuan Pill Saint. Everyone present was deeply shocked. This Qiankuan Pill Saint was at least a 6th-grade alchemist. Now, he actually killed him just like that. That was too careless. It was not easy for the Heaven and Earth Dan Saint to cultivate to the 6th-tier alchemist realm. Now, he wanted to display his strength, so that he could gain a good reputation in this kind of dark horse pill assembly and make a name for himself. However, he had never expected that he would be killed by the iron essence liquid. "Looks like my iron essence liquid is real," Li Zongjiu said calmly. It was as if he had done all this just to test the authenticity of his iron essence liquid. After verifying that the iron essence liquid was real, the pile of iron essence liquid had already fallen to the ground and solidified again. It could be said that there was no effect. If he wanted to refine it again, it would take a lot of effort. When Li Zongjiu was refining the iron yuan root, although he said that he had added medicinal ingredients, it was no longer important whether this kind of action violated the rules or not. That Heaven and Earth Dan Saint had been directly killed, was there a need for you to continue investigating? It was also very likely that he would offend Li Zongjiu directly. At present, this Li Zongjiu did not seem to be such a generous person. He could directly retaliate at any time. The notary also raised his head and glanced at the top of the pavilion. The person above nodded. In the end, it was judged that Li Zongjiu was the winner and successfully defended the arena once. The opponents that Li Zongjiu challenged were all very strong. For example, the Scarlet Cloud Fire Demon and the Qiankuan Pill Saint of the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints. Everyone also deeply remembered this young man in front of them. He was decisive in killing and did not put these rules in his eyes. Therefore, if they were to encounter this Li Zongjiu in the future, they must be careful. This brat, you must not be his enemy. Li Zongjiu glanced at the crowd and quickly caught sight of a figure who was looking at him with a gaze of extreme hatred. The corner of his mouth could not help but raise. Li Zongjiu felt that the style of the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints was none of his business. However, if you wanted to provoke Li Zongjiu, then sorry, Li Zongjiu could only do things according to his own style. Li Zongjiu signaled Tian Fei with his eyes. Tian Fei also understood Li Zongjiu's intention and quickly headed towards that figure. This person was also one of the Scarlet Cloud 5 Saints. The Qiankuan Pill Saint was killed by Li Zongjiu, so these people naturally had to find a way to take revenge. This person had not revealed his identity until now, but Li Zongjiu's gaze just now made him feel uneasy in his heart. It seemed that Li Zongjiu had already discovered them. Immediately, his figure also quickly walked out of the venue. The first day was almost over. Li Zongjiu came in front of Li Yun and the others. Kuan Erasure could only give Li Zongjiu a thumbs up. After all, Li Zongjiu's strength was indeed too terrifying. That was a 6th-grade alchemist, and he actually killed him directly. Who could say that they killed a 6th-grade alchemist? Then they killed a 6th-grade alchemist. This was an extremely inconceivable thing, and even this ordinary person would not dare to do so. Li Zongjiu did it. You. How could you just kill him? That's too cruel. Li Yun was also a little surprised by Li Zongjiu's actions. After all, this Li Zongjiu killed a 6th-grade alchemist. Wasn't this 6th-grade alchemist very valuable? In the end, he actually killed one on the spot. However, Li Yun also thought that this old thing deserved to die. Since he could become the enemy of the Li family, then there was no need to sympathize with an enemy. That was a very stupid act. I accidentally killed him. Li Zongjiu said innocently, but no one would believe this Li Zongjiu's nonsense. Where did Tian Fei go? Li Yun saw that Tian Fei left directly. He went to the toilet. Li Zongjiu said lightly. The battle just now also made many people put their eyes on Li Zongjiu. Even when Li Zongjiu passed by in front of these people, they all looked at him in awe. That old Emo did not dare to challenge Li Zongjiu at all. Who knew that this kid was so fierce? Previously, in the inn, he had already displayed his invincible might once. After that, he consecutively defeated the famous experts in the Qiyun region. Such strength naturally caused old Emo to feel fearful. It's about time for today. Let's go out and rest first. Li Zongjiu glanced at the situation at the scene. Most of the people had already stopped and returned to their senses. Because they directly lost, there was no way to continue. Under the respectful gaze of the crowd, Li Zongjiu and the others also directly left the Black Horse Square. However, there were also quite a few people who looked at the departing Li Zongjiu as if they were toying with their prey. This person is the reinforcements that the 100 Medicine Pavilion invited. Chapter 806. In a tall building outside the Black Horse Square. A few people were sitting in front of the window. One of them was leaning on a rocking bench, holding a handful of melon seeds and eating them. The other two were holding binoculars, looking at Li Zongjiu with great interest. Then, the camera turned and focused on Li Yun. This young lady looks quite interesting. You only know how to look at other people's girls. Study her carefully. This Li Zongjiu is a real strong enemy. A girl said at the side. While she was talking, she was also using the same file to rub her fingernails. After that, she even blew on her fingernails. No matter how strong Li Zongjiu is, he is just one person. He can't go to heaven. In front of us, this kid can only die. The person lying on the rattan chair was flipping through a book of herbs. The three of them were about the same age. 2 men and 1 woman. Looking at the clothes of these 3 people, it was very obvious that these 3 people should be from the same family. The price that the 10,000 spirits immortal shop paid this time is not low. It seems that they are determined to get the right to collect herbs. It's just a land of spiritual herbs. What's there to think about? For such a small thing, they are fighting to the death. The girl seemed to feel uncomfortable sitting there. She put her slender legs on the tea table, and at the same time, she was painting her fingernails with some strange colors. Dong Xiubai, you don't have to be so exaggerated. What's the point of painting these strange things on your fingernails? It doesn't look good at all. The man who was standing looked back and saw the girl's actions. He couldn't help but say with disdain. As the most orthodox of men, he couldn't understand this strange behavior. Why would someone like to do this? It was really puzzling. Sometimes, the 5 fingernails on the same hand were all different colors. It was even more unbelievable. What do you know? Dong Xiubai couldn't be bothered to care about the opinions of these uncouth fellows. Hey, Eastern Cold Mountain. You can handle this brat, right? I don't want to face such a boorish person. As for the others, only that guy from the 10 prescriptions medicine hall is worthy of my attention. I don't know where this Li Zongjiu came from, but he's so powerful even though he's just an amateur. Eastern Frost Mountain was also the person lying on the rattan chair. It's nothing, Dong Hanshan said plainly. Then, he looked at Dong Yangbai who was holding the binoculars and said. Hey, you've been watching for so long. Have you seen enough? Hurry up and order some food. I'm starving to death. I just want to take a look at that big sister. Dong Yangbai said. Then, the binoculars in his hand kept rotating, trying to find Li Yun. Swish. Boom. A whistling sound was heard. Dong Yangbai instantly sensed danger and quickly let go of the binoculars. However, that overbearing force had already blasted the binoculars in his hand. In an instant, the binoculars were torn to pieces. At the same time, a hidden force rushed toward Dong Yangbai's eyes. However, Dong Yangbai didn't dodge. Instead, his eyes seemed to surge with flames. Immediately, the hidden force in front of him was completely burned away. What a guy! Dong Yangbai took a step back. There was a wound on his palm, which was caused by the broken binoculars. Huh, you've suffered a loss, haven't you? Dong Hanshan looked at Dong Yangbai's angry face and immediately laughed out loud. Dong Yangbai's expression was naturally very ugly. There was no need to think to know who attacked him. It was obviously a warning from Li Zongjio. Unfortunately, Li Zongjio warned the wrong person. I haven't come to find you yet, but you've come to teach me a lesson first. Very well. I'd like to see how much skill you have. Dong Yangbai's face was full of displeasure. This was just an alchemist from the secular world. He only had some talent, but now he dared to take the initiative to provoke him. This was an extreme provocation for Dong Yangbai. I didn't expect that the third young master of the dignified Eastern Medicine clan would be teased by this secular person. Eastern Frost Mountain and the others were very gloating. Although they were teasing each other, the move just now did have some experience, which made Dong Yangbai very surprised. However, he naturally couldn't say it out loud. Li Zongjio had long known that someone was spying on them. Originally, he didn't want to pay attention to it. After all, it was just some idiot from a big family. However, who knew that under such circumstances, they dared to do it again and again. This was a bit too much, so he gave them a warning. They found an inn in this Black Horse town. The organizer was quite stingy. They didn't even arrange accommodation for them. The main reason was that these alchemists who came to participate in the competition, although they didn't have any big backing behind them, each of them had a bad temper. It was difficult to appease everyone, so they simply cancelled the accommodations. The three of them sat in front of the table. After a while, Tian Fei also came in from outside the room and sat down as if nothing had happened. On the way here, I found these tails, so I also cleaned them up. Tian Fei took out a blood-stained plate in his hand. The patterns on the plate were complicated, so it was hard to tell what it was. However, the back of the plate was engraved with the words Ardent Earth Sect. Didn't you go to the outhouse? You met them in the outhouse? Li Yun said in surprise. Ardent Earth Sect, this name sounded a little familiar. After thinking about it carefully, he recalled that yesterday, he seemed to have encountered some elite disciples of Ardent Earth Sect. After that, a few of them fought with each other and even beat them up. In the blink of an eye, he actually saw the people of Ardent Earth Sect again. Something like that. Tian Fei said awkwardly. In fact, Tian Fei also went to deal with one of the 5 Crimson Cloud Saints who had a grudge against him. As for who that person was, he didn't know. Anyway, he had already died under Tian Fei's sword. These guys are really troublesome. You two go around and catch their boss for me. Li Zongjio frowned. He hadn't come to find trouble with them, but they came to find him first. This made Li Zongjio a little angry. Tian Fei and Kun Erisher also stood up. Previously, Kun Erisher and Tian Fei had some conflicts. Now that they were fighting side by side, there was a different feeling. Even Kun Erisher had a trace of competition. They were all of the same age. Good, I also want to see how big the gap is between me and the elite disciples of the top sects in this continent. Kun Erisher said. Although the content was modest, the tone was unusually proud. Tian Fei also slightly nodded. I will let you know. Chapter 807. When Li Zongjio had just been reborn, he was very low-key. Li Zongjio rarely took the initiative to provoke other forces. He would wait until these people came knocking on his door and Li Zongjio was forced to fight back. But now, it was different. With Li Zongjio's current strength, he did not need to be low-key anymore. Just like the Shenyuan sect that came to him. So what if you are arrogant and overbearing? As long as you dare to come, I will cripple you. Originally, Li Zongjiu planned to go to the Shenyuan sect directly. Later, the people of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion came to him and mediated this matter. So, Li Zongjiu did not pursue this matter for the time being. But if these people did not know the difference between life and death, then, they would not have the chance to regret it in front of Li Zongjiu. Just like with the Ardent Earth sect. Really, a dog cannot change its habit of eating shit. They did not even weigh their own weight and dared to provoke Li Zongjiu. What kind of tail did they have? They were useless in front of Li Zongjiu. Li Yun was not clear about the enmity between the Ardent Earth sect and Li Zongjiu. But, she thought that it should not be a powerful character. Anyway, as long as Li Zongjiu was here, there would not be any problems. Li Zongjiu did not receive any response from Tian Fei, but someone came to him immediately. Hua Mei, who had been watching Li Zongjiu, knew that this was a rare opportunity when he saw Tian Fei and Kun Erisher leave. As for the other woman, if he was not mistaken, she should be a trash who only knew how to talk. As for Li Zongjiu, although he had some strength, the Ardent Earth sect had also come prepared. It was impossible for them to not be able to deal with an expert like him. It was a very simple task to specifically target this kind of expert who was separated from the group. Surround this inn. Hua Mei ordered. Immediately, more than 10 elite disciples rushed out from behind. The huge formation directly sent the diners, who were still eating, flying with a kick. Get out if you don't want to die. Those who had eyes could immediately see that these were the people of the Ardent Earth sect. Not far away, they were the sect of the Ardent Earth sect. Who in the Black Horse town did not know the strength of the Ardent Earth sect's people? They immediately ran away. Brat, you've got guts to come here alone. Since you've come to our Ardent Earth sect's territory, we should do our part as hosts. On Hua Mei's face, there was a look of a villain intoxicated by success. Li Yun glanced around and saw a total of 16 Ardent Earth sect disciples. They are going to set up a formation. Li Yun immediately whispered. When Li Zongjiu heard Li Yun's words, he looked directly at Li Yun and ignored the others. Why are you staring at me? Li Yun looked at Li Zongjiu's strange behavior and felt quite strange. At this time, Li Zongjiu never felt nervous. Facing a big sect, the most difficult thing to deal with was these people's formations. They were very good at it. Moreover, these people usually cultivated together. Once they formed a formation, the power they possessed would be extremely terrifying. It was simply unimaginable. You can see what kind of formation it is. Li Zongjiu curiously looked at Li Yun. Li Yun felt the pressure and began to quickly observe the formation of these people. Soon, she found that these people's formation was very strange. However, Li Yun quickly determined the formation of these people based on some clues around them. Scorching Yin Gale Formation. I once saw an introduction to this kind of formation in a miscellaneous book. Within this Scorching Yin Gale Formation, everything will be destroyed. Not even bones will be left. When Li Yan mentioned this array formation, she was also shocked in her heart. I remember now. The Scorching Sun sect originated from this kind of formation. Li Yun immediately exclaimed. Looks like your talent in formations is not bad. Li Zongjiu obviously couldn't see what kind of formation these people were setting up. He didn't need to observe these things at all. You can set it up as you wish. I'll just sit here and give you enough time to prepare. You can set it up as you please. In any case, Li Zongjiu would be able to break it easily in the end. No matter how powerful your formation is, it can't be as powerful as the people in Qin Yuan Manor. Not bad, my ass. This Scorching Yin Gale formation is specialized in restraining all kinds of attributes. Either we rush out now, or we'll be finished when the formation is completed. Are we still going to sit here? Why don't you cover me and I'll escape first? Li Yun said. Because she understood formations, she was very clear about the power of this formation and felt a deep respect for it. What Hua Mei needed was Li Yun's respect. He, if you want to leave, I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Since you know this formation, feel it well. Start the formation. Under Hua Mei's command, the surrounding disciples of the Ardent Earth sect immediately released their Yuan force. The few of them connected with each other. Boom! A gust of chilly wind rose from the ground. This gust of wind was like a knife, easily flashing in front of them. In an instant, it directly slashed towards Li Zongjiu and Hua Mei. Seeing these wind blades coming towards them, Li Yun quickly said, "These wind blades are endless. We must find a gap in this storm. Otherwise, we will be continuously pierced by these wind blades, just like 1,000 arrows piercing through our hearts." Just as she finished speaking, Li Zongjiu's hand had already reached out of the formation with a swoosh. He directly grabbed a disciple of the Ardent Earth sect and threw him in front of him. Ah! Countless wind blades directly slashed the disciple of the Ardent Earth sect into a porcupine. Puff puff puff. He could clearly feel the pain as he listened to the waves of energy shuttling through his body. Even his bones were broken within his body. His entire body was paralyzed as he lay dead on the ground. Li Zongjiu then grabbed Li Yun. After all, there were too many dangers in the surroundings. If he didn't protect Li Yun well, he would probably be slashed into two halves. The number of people who had set up the array was decreasing one after another. When the number of people was reduced to 5, the array formation directly collapsed. When the formation disappeared, there were already 11 corpses left on the ground. What? Hua Mei never imagined how Li Zongjiu did it. Just as Hua Mei was in a daze, Li Zongjiu's figure flashed and appeared in front of Hua Mei. I see that your eyebrows are quite unique. I wonder what they will look like when they are burned. Li Zongjiu flicked his finger, and a flame burned Hua Mei's eyebrows. Chapter 808. Hua Mei never thought that his eyebrows would be burned on the spot at such an old age. Let go of Protector Hua Mei. The remaining disciples saw that Hua Mei was directly held hostage by Li Zongjiu and quickly said. However, when they saw the corpses on the ground, they hesitated and did not dare to go forward. They only dared to stand at a distance and call for help, but they were reluctant to go forward. Once they went forward and were accidentally killed by Li Zongjiu, wouldn't it be a great loss? I'll give you a chance to leave, otherwise, I don't mind killing a few more. Li Zongjiu glanced at the 5 disciples who were still alive in front of him. My Ardent Earth sect's disciples are not cowards who are afraid of death. Hua Mei's eyebrows were burned, and he was incomparably humiliated. He angrily rebuked Li Zongjiu, but now his neck was in Li Zongjiu's hands. When he spoke, his saliva almost sprayed on Li Zongjiu's face. Don't worry, Protector. We'll go and find the vice sect leader. Yes, Protector, you must hold on. Immediately, the 5 disciples turned around and directly jumped out of the inn's window. Bang! Bang! Because the door was blocked by Li Zongjiu, these people did not hesitate to jump out of the window to escape. Seeing these disciples flee, it was a huge blow to Hua Mei. This was a huge blow to Hua Mei. He never thought that he would do such a thing. Just a moment ago, he said that the disciples of the Ardent Earth sect would never run away. In the blink of an eye, all of them had run away. Li Zongjiu, don't be arrogant. I don't believe that you dare to kill me. Hua Mei immediately straightened his chest, as if he was waiting to see if Li Zongjiu dared to kill him. Crack! Li Zongjiu directly took action and forcefully crushed Hua Mei's throat. Under Li Zongjiu's control, Hua Mei had no way to mobilize his Yuan force, so he was like a lamb in Li Zongjiu's hand. The last sentence just now became Hua Mei's last words. He casually tossed the corpse onto the ground. How dare he make a bet with Li Zongjiu? He was truly reckless. There were quite a few people who were secretly watching this scene. When they saw Li Zongjiu killing a protector of the Ardent Earth sect without the slightest hesitation and effortlessly killing a protector of the Ardent Earth sect, as well as a dozen disciples lying on the ground, a storm rose in their hearts. Such a scene was indeed extremely spectacular. What a terrifying person, this guy, he must have a very strong background. Damn, that's the protector of Earth sect. Someone cried out in surprise. Moreover, Li Zongjiu did not seem to see these people as human lives. Who would dare to sit down and have a meal with such a terrifying person who killed people like scything flax? Naturally, all of them quietly slipped away. This, you killed so many people, this, Li Yun saw so many corpses lying on the ground and could not help but feel a little scared. However, her psychological quality was not bad, so she quickly calmed down. These people wanted to kill us. This world is lacking in many things, but there are too many people who deserve to die. Li Zongjiu said indifferently. Since they had provoked Li Zongjiu, then they could only wait for death. In his previous life, Li Zongjiu had experienced many life and death situations, and had seen many tragic scenes. Therefore, sympathy was the most worthless thing. Li Zongjiu had long forgotten about sympathy, and only his own heart had persisted until now. That's true. Li Yun also kicked Huamei's body, causing him to roll a few times on the ground. This is for you. See how much you can understand. Li Zongjiu gave Li Yun a tattered and old book. Li Yun curiously took the book. After flipping to a page, her eyes could not leave the book. This is an encyclopedia of array formations. It's so detailed, such a detailed array formation book. Li Yun said excitedly, as if she had found a treasure. This book was also stolen from the underground black market of the Sacred Flame Royal City. If she did not remember wrongly, it should be there. It's good that you can read it. Li Zongjiu looked at Li Yun's interested expression and knew that Li Yun might have an extraordinary understanding of array formations. If she had talent in this area, then perhaps she could be nurtured into an array formation genius. This was also a very good thing for the Li family. Li Zongjiu was not very proficient in array formations in his previous life. If Li Yun was really interested, then he would help Li Yun find a good teacher. In this world, only Li Zongjiu was so confident. Array formation masters all had strange tempers, but they were all of high status. If they were given enough time and energy, they would not have a problem fighting against 100 people. Therefore, array formation masters were extremely precious resources. If they were powerful, it would be even more important if they wanted to take in a disciple. However, since Li Zongjiu thought so, then he must have his own way. As long as Li Zongjiu wanted something, then there was basically nothing that could not be done. If this person was not willing to teach, then Li Zongjiu would not mind chopping off his head. In this world, other than strength, the most important thing was one's fists. These corpses, the inn's shopkeeper walked out with his hands raised. He looked at Li Zongjiu and the corpses in front of him. You can clean them up. Li Zongjiu casually threw out a few purple yuan coins. Just these few purple yuan coins were enough to cover the inn's income for a few months. The shopkeeper immediately ordered his subordinates to move the corpses to the back courtyard. After all, he still needed to do business here. If someone died in an accident, it wouldn't be his inn's responsibility. Therefore, he didn't care about this. There was no inn that did not have people dying. If there were no deaths in this inn, then it was not a good inn. Who knows, if a powerful person suddenly died in your inn, then your inn would become popular all of a sudden. Boss, we are back. Kuan Erisher and Tian Fei also stepped into the inn. They just happened to see the inn's waiter cleaning up the bloodstains on the ground. When they saw that there was no one in the inn, they immediately guessed that there were people here. They were really reckless. Kuan Erisher knew about Li Zongjiu's strength. If they met Li Zongjiu, then there was basically no way for them to live peacefully. Being able to die a quick death was already a very fortunate thing. Tian Fei was carrying a person with a bloody nose and a swollen face. His body was full of wounds and blood. Even now, he was already in a semi-conscious state. Chapter 809. There's someone here too. Koen Erisher was obviously a little surprised. However, this mission was really not simple. It took a lot of effort to capture this guy. You guys are really something. You only have so few people, yet you still split them up. How interesting. Koen Erisher used a basin of water to wake the person in front of him up. Tian Fei did not say much. After all, Tian Fei's identity was different from Koen Erashi's. Tian Fei was only a subordinate of Li Zongjiu. As the deputy sect master of Ardent Earth Sect, Xing Qinxiu had seen too many situations. Xing Qinxiu didn't even know how many things he had to deal with. Many troublesome problems were easily solved by him. Therefore, Xing Qinxiu was very confident in his ability. Even though the sect master had given him the mission to get rid of Li Zongjiu, Xing Qinxiu felt that it was a very simple matter. However, he did not expect that two young men would actually kill their way to his residence today. Given the strength of Ardent Earth Sect, it was very normal for them to set up a branch hall in Black Horse Town. Xing Qinxiu was naturally disdainful when he saw the two youths charging towards him. These days, there were too many people who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Therefore, Xing Qinxiu didn't put the two youths in his eyes. He ordered his men to capture them and torture them before interrogating them. Who knew that these two young men would start a massacre as soon as they rushed into the courtyard? These so-called elite disciples of Ardent Earth Sect were like a pile of tofu in front of these two young men. They were directly knocked to the ground and a large number of them were knocked down. After that, when Xing Qinxiu reacted, he was already beaten up by these two young men. Xing Qinxiu was also a Yuan monarch elite. More or less, Xing Qinxiu had some status in the Jianghu. But now that he had been plotted against and reduced to such a state, Xing Qinxiu was even more furious and displeased. He immediately glared at the people in front of him. How dare you plot against me? Do you know who I am? Xing Qinxiu immediately stood up. However, he discovered that there were no signs of him being tied up. These people actually allowed him to move freely without any restrictions. However, when Xing Qinxiu saw the corpse lying on the floor in front of him, his eyes widened. This was a corpse that hadn't been cleaned up yet. This corpse was none other than Protector Huomei. Although Protector Huomei's eyebrows had been burned off, one could still tell that the person in front of them was Protector Huomei. How dare you kill Huomei? Xing Qinxiu's eyes widened as he stared at Li Zongjiu and the people around him. He couldn't believe it. Could it be that these youngsters had already reached such a level of lawlessness? After all, this was the Black Horse Town, and the headquarters of the Ardent Earth Sect was not far away. Could it be that these people did not want to live anymore? You are digging your own graves. How dare you touch the protector of the Ardent Earth Sect? In less than a day, the Ardent Earth Sect will come out in full force and kill all of you. Xing Qinxiu roared in a low voice. His words were very intimidating. If it was someone who was inexperienced in the underworld, they might have to be a little cautious. Where is your sect? Li Zongjiu asked directly. Since your Ardent Earth Sect is so arrogant, I will go to your sect and take a look. Li Zongjiu said indifferently. If Li Zongjiu said such words to any sect in his previous life, the people of that sect would be disheartened. Because it meant that a big trouble was coming. When the evil lord came, they would either lose money or die. Therefore, they must prepare enough money to settle this matter. If they did not have enough money, then they could only wait for death. The evil lord was not here to have tea and talk about Tao. When the time was up, if they did not have enough money, then they would kill those who should be killed. What? Xing Qianxiu was also wondering if he had heard wrongly, or if he was dreaming. How could such a thing happen? Just who were these people? They actually wanted to visit the Ardent Earth sect for a visit? Of course, this meant that they were going to cause trouble in the Ardent Earth sect. There were very few enemies who dared to barge into the enemy's headquarters alone. Wasn't this equivalent to suicide? In Xing Qianxiu's long life, he had never encountered such a situation. For Xing Qianxiu, his brain seemed to be unable to process this. However, since these people had such a stupid idea, of course, he could not just rush over like that. Then, Xing Qianxiu sneered. "Alright, since you want to die so much, then I will fulfill your wish. If you have the ability, then come after me." Xing Qianxiu wanted to see if these people had set up any traps in the surroundings. He immediately jumped up and rushed towards the ceiling of the inn. He directly rushed out of the roof. Whoosh! Xing Qianxiu leaped up and realized that he was not restrained in the slightest. After his figure rushed out of the inn, he immediately felt as though he had escaped from a sea of suffering. He even felt that these young people were really too unprofessional. After capturing the person, they did not take any precautions and escaped so easily. However, Xing Qianxiu was happy too early. When Xing Qianxiu jumped up, a roar suddenly came from the sky. When he looked up, a huge black shadow appeared above his head. When he saw the thing above his head, it was as if a huge shadow of death was shrouding Xing Qianxiu. Xing Qianxiu instantly froze on the spot. "Fuck, why don't you fly forward?" Li Zongjiu and the others appeared on the Qilin battleship and looked at Xing Qianxiu below. Although Xing Qianxiu was flying at a higher altitude, the Qilin battleship easily surpassed Xing Qianxiu. After all, Xing Qianxiu was a Yuan monarch elite and was confident in his ability to escape. He was able to escape the pursuit of these young people. When he immediately escaped, he realized that the Qilin battleship was following closely behind him. Even under the huge pressure, Xing Qianxiu felt the fear of being chased by a huge beast. He was gradually shocked. Damn it! Along the way, Xing Qianxiu's figure directly chased into the distance. He did not know how much pressure he was under as he ran frantically. Finally, a towering mountain peak appeared in front of him. There seemed to be an extremely powerful force around the mountain peak, warning the surroundings. Even a flock of birds and beasts did not dare to come close. "Wait for your death, you trash." Xing Qianxiu's eyes emitted a cold light. Chapter 8:10. Li Zongjiu stood on the Qilin battleship and saw a sect appear in front of him. On top of the mountain, there were layers upon layers of tall buildings. They slowly appeared in front of him, overlapping with each other. It was a magnificent sight. "Since you're here, let's greet them." Li Zongjiu gestured to Li Yun. At first, Li Yun did not understand what he meant. However, when she saw Li Zongjiu adjusting the cannon, she understood. Immediately, Li Yun adjusted the energy cannons in the Qilin battleship. Some of the Ardent Earth sect disciples who were still in the sect lifted their heads to look at the Qilin battleship. The appearance of such a huge battleship piqued their curiosity. "Who is that? How dare he drive a battleship to our sect? Our sect has a space-prohibiting array. Is this guy here to provoke our sect? Within 1,000 miles, no other sect dares to go against us. These people are obviously here to die. How dare they not know the rules? We'll blast them down sooner or later. That's right. I wonder where this country bumpkin came from." Obviously, these Ardent Earth sect disciples had a strong sense of honor. When they saw the Qilin battleship, they were extremely xenophobic. After all, these people thought that the Qilin battleship was too arrogant. Even Xing Qianxiu sneered in his heart. But then, he suddenly heard a loud boom above his head. Boom! A terrifying sound vibrated out. It was as if the airwaves in the sky had been blown away. He could see a bright light wave rushing towards the sect's elders' hall at an incomparably fast speed. This was a sleeping chamber specially for the elders to rest. Boom! A hall that was almost 7 stories high was instantly smashed into pieces. The edge of the hall also directly rumbled a few times before it collapsed. It was like a real landslide and the earth was cracking. As for the disciples of Ardent Earth sect, their jaws dropped when they saw this scene. This, the Elders' Hall, has collapsed. Fuck, are they here to attack our sect? I never thought that I would encounter something so exciting in my lifetime. Many disciples of the Ardent Earth sect were excited. It was not common for their sect to be attacked. Moreover, the strength of the Ardent Earth sect was not weak. It would not be easy to cover it up. As a disciple of the Ardent Earth sect, it was rare for him to witness such a scene. Therefore, he had mixed feelings about it. However, after the commotion, some people immediately woke up with a start. Fuck, the sect has been attacked. Quick, save the elder. Elders, are you alright? Many elders were resting at this moment. Now that they were suddenly shot through the window by a cannon, it was probably something that ordinary people could imagine. As for those elders who were hit by the cannon, they couldn't believe it. Who would have thought that something like this would happen to them? What's going on? As the vice sect master, Xing Qianxiu seemed to have finally realized what the current situation was. The collapse of the elders' sleeping chamber also caused these disciples to become nervous. Some of the elders were dug out, while others were buried deep underground. There were a total of 50 elders in the Ardent Earth sect, and only a dozen of them crawled out. A group of disciples lifted a large stone slab. He saw an elder and a senior sister hugging each other naked on a bed sheet. However, they were still unconscious. The power of the blast just now was too strong. Fuck. Isn't that senior sister Xuelian, this? When the disciples saw this scene, they instantly felt as if their world had exploded. His senior sister, who was usually his goddess, had actually appeared in the elder's bed at night. Boom! Because of the shock, he loosened his grip, and the stone slab was pressed down again. Shit. The disciples looked at each other. If the stone slab fell down with a bang, it would definitely cause the elder and senior sister to be injured again. Wouldn't that be killing the elder? Immediately, the disciples signaled with their eyes and then pretended to look for other survivors. Immediately, the disciples of the Ardent Earth sect who were responsible for guarding the Qilin battleship rushed towards it. However, there weren't many disciples who could fly in the air. A total of 6 people rushed towards the Qilin battleship first. Isn't that the deputy sect leader? Did the deputy sect leader bring people to attack our sect? When the disciples saw Xing Qianxiu, their eyes widened. They couldn't believe their eyes. There were a lot of strange things that happened tonight. First, the sect was attacked. Now, it was the vice sect master who brought people here. One of them looked a little older, so he was asked to speak. He coughed softly, stepped forward, and shouted at the Qilin battleship. Who are you? Tell me your name. However, there was no response from the Qilin battleship. The cannon on the Qilin battleship was aimed at the formation of the 6 people. Disperse. The young man who was leading the group immediately exclaimed. Boom. Another resplendent light emerged. When the 6 disciples sensed the emergence of this intense light, although they dodged quickly, the power of the light still remained in the area. Boom. The few of them were immediately blinded and deafened. Although it was only for a short period of time, under such power, it was still unbearable. Xing Qianxiu watched as the cannon on the Qilin battleship aimed at the book depository hall of the Ardent Earth sect. The book depository hall contained the sect's cultivation techniques, and there were even a few top-notch elemental arts. There were even unique copies that couldn't be duplicated. Once duplicated, the imprint of the elemental arts would disappear, which was equivalent to losing the elemental arts. However, all of these didn't exist now. When the guardian elder of the book depository hall sensed the might of this cannon, he immediately leaped forward and charged towards the light cannon. However, this light cannon contained the power of an upper-grade elemental stone. How could it be blocked so easily? Boom! The guardian elder was directly blasted into nothingness. The tall, precious, and ancient book depository hall. It was like an incense stick that had been burned out, directly turning into ashes. Chapter 8:11. They could only watch helplessly as their book depository hall was reduced to a pile of ashes. To them, this was a very solemn place of inheritance. But now, it had been reduced to ashes by a single shot from the enemy. This, Xing Qianxiu had long forgotten about the so-called fear when he saw this scene. Only endless confusion remained in his eyes. Xing Qianxiu couldn't have imagined the development of the current situation. You! Stop it! Xing Qianxiu roared at the Qilin battleship where Li Zongjiu and the rest were. He stared at the Qilin battleship above and wished he could blast it into pieces. He was the one who had brought this terrifying thing here. Of course, Xing Qianxiu was not worried about the destruction of these sects' holy lands. He was worried that these sects would definitely hold him responsible after this incident. Today, I, Li Zongjiu, will not kill you. However, if Ardent Earth sect continues to be stubborn, then don't blame me for being impolite. Li Zongjiu shouted in the direction of the people from Ardent Earth sect. Sometimes, it was more effective to beat people until they were scared than to kill them directly. Therefore, after Li Zongjiu used the Qilin battleship to intimidate them, this matter was over. If they continued to be stubborn and wanted to provoke Li Zongjiu, then he would wait for Li Zongjiu to come back and destroy Ardent Earth sect directly. Directly driving the Qilin warship and firing 2 cannons was simply more direct and simple than anything else. Ignoring Xing Qianxiu's incessant shouting below, Li Zongjiu turned around and left in front of Ardent Earth sect. The effect of this demonstration was quite good. These people from Ardent Earth sect had never expected that someone would attack in such a way. The sudden attack was something that the elders and disciples did not expect at all. In fact, they did not even have the slightest inkling of what was going on. Yet, they had already suffered extremely heavy losses. Xing Qianxiu looked at the departing Qilin battleship and Li Zongjiu and the others. Looking at the miserable state of the Ardent Earth sect, Xing Qianxiu felt that this was a hellish torture. Xing Qianxiu even thought of taking advantage of the chaos to leave the sect tonight. Damn it, that damned Li Zongjiu. Except for Li Zongjiu, the rest of the people on the Qilin warship felt like they were in a dream. This deterrence of strength was quite wonderful. Ordinary people would never have thought that there would be such a thing and it would even succeed. Under normal circumstances, if you were to go alone without any preparation, you would be targeted the moment you stepped into the vicinity of the other party's sect. Then, it wouldn't be a problem for them to deal with you directly. There was simply no chance for him to leave like this. The reason why he was able to achieve today's result was because he was bold. Secondly, the power of the Qilin battleship was indeed too powerful. This time, it was an easy bombardment and it had already completed its mission. Then, it quickly left. If it had enough energy, it might even be possible to wipe out the Ardent Earth sect today. After thinking about the dangers, Kuan Erishur and the others became excited. Oh my god, this warship is too powerful. Kuan Erishur was also amazed by the Qilin battleship in his hands. He had never seen such a powerful weapon. The Qilin battleship was one of them. It was extremely powerful and intimidating. If their Kuan castle could have a few more of such weapons, then the power of Kuan castle would also increase tremendously. The bombardment just now consumed 1 upper-grade primordial stone. Li Yun set up the Qilin battleship and was now slowly returning to the Black Horse town. When he heard Li Yun's words, Kuan Erishur was in a bad mood. Just now, 2 primordial stones were directly consumed. Who could afford to consume such a thing? No wonder it was so powerful. However, if the battle continued like this, no matter how rich one's family was, it would be impossible to consume such a huge amount of primordial stones. That's way too expensive. But this is the first time I've ever experienced something like this. Koen Erisher said excitedly. Not only was Koen Erisher excited, but Tian Fei also admired Li Zongjiu's courage even though he did not say it out loud. Facing a sect and facing the threat of an ancient emperor expert were two completely different levels. However, Li Zongjiu was fearless and directly killed his way out. It was really admirable. Let's go back to the Black Horse Town first. There will be more of such things in the future. Li Zongjiu said slowly. Such a small matter was nothing. Li Zongjiu's battle record in his previous life could be said to be even more glorious. This was just a small lesson, and Li Zongjiu didn't even use his full strength. If Li Zongjiu really got serious, then the Ardent Earth sect would be doomed. Li Yun also looked at Li Zongjiu, who was sitting quietly. She realized that she did not understand her brother at all. However, this did not prevent Li Yun from admiring and trusting Li Zongjiu. It was Li Yun's first time piloting the Qilin battleship to battle. If they could not escape just now, then it would be destroyed by Ardent Earth sect. As the captain of the ship, Li Yun naturally could not escape. However, Li Yun did not hesitate to obey Li Zongjiu's orders. This was a big matter of directly attacking a sect. The consequences of provoking an entire sect were very serious. However, with Li Zongjiu around, everything was fine. The four of them returned to the Black Horse Town safe and sound. At this moment, in Black Horse Town, those who did not know that Li Zongjiu had already gone to Ardent Earth sect to greet them only knew that Li Zongjiu seemed to have crippled Ardent Earth sect's protector Huomei. Immediately, Black Horse Town also started a heated discussion about this matter. They were all discussing whether this matter was true or false. It must be fake news. That is Ardent Earth sect. Who doesn't know the name of Ardent Earth sect within 1,000 miles? That's right. The deputy sect master of Ardent Earth sect is an expert of the Yuan King realm. I heard that the deputy sect master of Ardent Earth sect is in Black Horse Town. If anyone dares to spread such a rumor, aren't they afraid that the deputy sect master of Ardent Earth sect will deal with them? How audacious. Someone slammed the board and said. Obviously, he was supporting the Ardent Earth sect. That's not necessarily true. Li Zongjiu is a figure who has made a name for himself in Sacred Flame Royal City. He must not be simple to be able to make a name for himself in Sacred Flame Royal City. I also heard that Li Zongjiu is an honorary elder of Heavenly Elixir Pavilion. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.